This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show. You're tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Offense to the heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, lollipop blow in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Show on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Miami, that's the way we roll.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
On the morning show, we go. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Live and direct, because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live.
When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee, and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today. 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com. Viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty, Good morning. Welcome aboard. Yes, sir. Time to have some fun. Man, we've had a long morning already. I've been up for a while, and today's today's something that I rarely ever do in my 31 years, and obviously don't do this a lot on this show. And that's really I didn't do a lot of prep today. I had to go to a sleep doctor today, and it's a small world, man, isn't it? Because you walk into the patient room and immediately one of the patients says, "Hey, Big O." And you like turn around. And so now there's a patient that knows you're there. That's a listener, by the way. And thank you, sir, for being a listener. I don't know if even he told me his name, but he said he's a listener, and he found us through Dougly Do Wrong, by the way, which is actually really cool. And so I've been having issues with sleep for many, many years now. And I am taking some CBD that's helping me a little bit. But I think I have a case of maybe sleep apnea. And so I had to go get it checked out. And the doc is a listener of the podcast. So we ran into two listeners at the doctor's office today. One was a patient, one was the doctor. And the doctor was very nice. And basically, it's my ass, gaining all this weight that I have. Although I've lost a couple pounds in the last couple of days. So that's actually good that I've been, because I'm trying to curb my terrible habits. You know what I mean? Because I do have terrible habits. And so Doc was basically like, dude, you need to lose the weight. You lose the weight, you'll lose that stuff, and you won't have to use a machine or anything like that. So I will be getting a machine so I can get tested. But by the time that machine gets here, which is still 2 weeks, hopefully I'll be able to lose even more weight by then. Because I'm going to even start walking today. Because I got to take it serious, man. I mean, I let myself go during the pandemic, and I've done this. I'm not even going to blame the pandemic because that's a weak-ass excuse, okay? That's just me being lazy. And I've done this like several times where I lose the weight. And I can lose the weight because I've done it 3 different times. I've lost 50, 60, and 80 pounds. So it's not like I can't lose weight. I know how to lose weight. It's the question of staying on the course. That's my problem. Then I get back to all the bad habits. And so that puts me in this position at the age of 55 that, I'm having sleep issues, and that's because I've gained too much weight. And he started explaining to me about all the fat that you start creating, and so it starts to trap up your apparently the tube that you breathe through is really thin. And so then obviously if you got a lot of fat, yeah, you could end up with the sleep apnea like I did. So he thinks I have it. I mean, it's not a sure thing, but it's one of those things like, you're sleeping in the middle of the night and then you kind of like wake up because you're not breathing. It's one of those kind of deals. So it kind of freaks you out a little bit. And it freaked me out, about, I don't know, about a week and a half ago. And I told my wife, get me an appointment. I don't want to do this anymore. It happened to me a couple times and they were little. But about a week ago, there was a big one, dude, that I like woke up and I was like, holy crap, am I choking or something here? Is somebody choking me or something? Is my wife finally putting me out of my misery here? That kind of stuff. So, yeah. So it is what it is. So that's why I am late today. Had to get up way early today to go all the way down to Miami to go to this appointment, and living out west like I do, it's a pain in the ass in the morning because everybody's going east. There are 2 directions you don't want to go in South Florida in the morning, right? You don't want to be going south from the north on I-95. You definitely don't want to do that. And you don't want to be going east from, I would imagine, either Broward or Dade. I don't know how Palm Beach is. I don't know if the west is that bad going east in the Palm Beaches or whatever, but I know that Dade and Broward, forget about it. There's lots of people living out west and they got to go east, and it is brutal in the mornings. So I would imagine Palm Beach is probably the same thing, but I've experienced Dade and Broward, so I know. I don't remember driving in Palm Beach early in the morning. So anyway, so that's my explanation. You guys know I'm an open book with all of you out there as always. I tell you everything that goes on in my life and the way we go about things. So it is what it is, man. So yes, Darren, yes, pork neck and sleep apnea. Yep. It's it goes hand in hand, my brother. It just goes hand in hand. It is what it is, dude. So what do we have? Stats here in the morning. Carlos is putting up stats. Tua and Allen stats for the Jags game. Tua 33 of 47, 329, 2 touchdowns, an interception. Josh Allen 31 of 47, 264 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Carlos, I get it that Tua outperformed Josh Allen against the Jags. And Tua has no line whatsoever. So I get it. In fact, Tua actually has the proud label of owning the 3 worst linemen in the NFL. So I mean that's an honor, right? I mean the Dolphins, they have the honor roll. You think the Dolphins should come up with the dishonor roll? Right? I mean, we have the honor roll in the stadium. We should. I mean, after the last 25 years, let's have the dishonor roll. I mean, there's got to be a place where we can put Cam Cameron's name. There's got to be a place where we can put Deion Jordan's name. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the dishonor roll would be really, really good here for the Miami Dolphins. This is one that we could load up, ladies and gentlemen. The dishonor roll, I mean, that's where the Dolphins can excel. You come out with that news that they've got the 3 worst linemen in the NFL. That, my friends, is a distinction of all distinctions. Liam Eichenberg has allowed 37 pressures. Austin Jackson has allowed 37 pressures. Jesse Davis has allowed 37 pressures. Now, what I want to know is, did they actually team up to make sure they had the same amount of pressures? Do they kind of get together before games? Hey, yo, dude, you've got 34. I've got 31. What the hell are you doing, man? And there's Jesse Davis going, yeah, man, I've got only 29. Let me catch up here a little bit. I mean, because it takes a skill set to have the 3 worst linemen in the NFL. But not only that, they all have the same amount of pressures allowed. That is talent. I don't think we're giving them enough credit. I mean, Preston Williams, talk about a guy that belongs on the dishonor roll. There's a young man that has made a living out of getting injured and dropping passes and having terrible knowledge of crypto. Just because he pushes Doge so much, he deserves to be on the dishonor roll. And we can add a lot of people to the dishonor roll. I mean, Adam Gase, there you go. Although if we add Adam Gase on the dishonor roll, we can't put any names next to him because in honor of Adam Gase, and we have to, social distancing, even with his name. Nobody ever wanted to be around Adam Gase. We got to make sure if we put him on the honor roll, on the dishonor roll, we got to make sure he's apart from everybody else. So I'm just saying, dude. How about the bust honor roll? No, I like the dishonor roll. Sheba rocks, so does O and Metallica. Yes, sir. I got my Metallica shirt on today. I got my bootleg Metallica shirt on today. Oh, wait a minute. I still have my mask on from when I went to the doctor's office. But you got to have your mask. Oh, it's a weird office when you walk in and then there are beds in the different offices. And I know it's a sleep center, so it's a sleep thing. Luckily, I don't have to do my sleep test there. I can do it at home. I didn't want to do it there. It's kind of, that's kind of weird. Sleep in an office where people are working and all that. That would be really hard for me to take my sleep test there, I got to say. Oh, Devontae Parker is completely in the dishonor roll. How about X? This year, X needs to be put in the dishonor roll, right? I mean, Brian Flores' entire coaching staff deserves to be in the dishonor roll. Jordan Cameron or Cameron Jordan, it depends. When you're concussed, you can split, you can reverse the name. So, yeah, Jordan Cameron, definitely. That dude is in the dishonor roll. Chris Forrester. In fact, it'll be Chris and then a little mound of cocaine and then Forrester. You got to do that, right? He's got to, when you put Chris Forrester in the dishonor roll, he's got to have an emoji of a little mountain of coke. I mean, that's key right there. I like it. You guys are doing a nice job of contributing to the dishonor roll for the Miami Dolphins. I like that. I like Eddie Moore. Yeah. Eddie Moore's a good one. That's that Tom Olivadotti. Oh man. Holy Olivadotti. Yes, Olivadotti definitely belongs on the dishonor roll. Fuller's on my list. Oh, you telling me? Will Fuller? That guy is awesome. Because really, you think about it. Anybody that can steal that amount of money without a gun and a mask and do absolutely nothing for it. I mean, Will Fuller has done nothing for that money. Talk about a gift of all gifts. But at least he made 10. Well, it won't really be 10. It'll be 6 after the taxes, and then another 2 or 3% that goes to the agent out of the 6 that's left. So, yeah. I mean, Will Fuller, you are right, Chris. He is a genius. Will Fuller's a genius. He made $10 million to do absolutely nothing. And that guy's going to walk out of there feeling good about himself. So, yeah, no, there's no doubt that Will Fuller is the kind of bum that deserves to be on the dishonor roll. Jay Cutler, definitely a dishonor roll. Sammy Smith, the drug kingpin. Yes, definitely. Michael Agnew, that is a good one. Right there. I love it. See, you guys got it. I mean, the dishonor roll would be a lot more fun than the honor roll. Now, where would we put that roll? Because we don't want to really put it inside the stadium. Right? Do we run it right alongside the canal that's right next to the stadium? You build like a small wall right above the canal and it has the names there? Because, I mean, these names are pretty gross. Canals are usually pretty gross, although some of you somehow eat fish from there, which I have no idea. But still, I always wonder about those people fishing off the turnpikes and canals. Like, really? You would eat a fish from there? I don't know if we should put Lawrence Phillips on the dishonor roll, even though I know he is no longer with us, but he's still a threat to everybody else on that roll. He might try to run him over like he did those kids when he thought it was like, Death Race 2000 or something like that. If you guys don't know the story, he had a pickup game, and apparently he wasn't happy with the results of the pickup game because Lawrence Phillips, I guess, wasn't even good in pickup football. And so he decided to get his revenge by trying to run over kids. And that's, that's Lawrence Phillips. Albert Wilson is definitely in the dishonor roll. My Lord, there's another thief. I wouldn't put Hugh Green there. Hugh Green, it's not Hugh Green's fault. Hugh Green isn't a bum, dude. Hugh Green had bad luck and he got injured. He got his knee blown out. That doesn't make him a guy that belongs in the dishonor roll. The dishonor roll is somebody that is dishonoring your team with terrible play, being lazy. Like for the Miami Heat, it's a small ring, but Hassan Whiteside would definitely be in that dishonor roll. Okay. Dallas Thomas went on to play better after he left here, so I don't know if I can put him there. Mike Wallace definitely belongs in the dishonor roll right there. Yes. Mark Colombo was 87 years old when they signed that turnstile, so I get it. Alfred Oglesby, hey man, not all of us can be abducted by aliens. It was beautiful. Jakeem Grant fumbled last night. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know. Did he really? Did he lose the fumble also? Now, was it on special teams or was it as a receiver? Are they dumb enough to be using him as a receiver? Big O, the Miami Heat are legit. Dolphin Leroy chimes in with a super chat. And he is. They are legit. They just had a crappy night last night. Absolutely crappy night last night. So, let's talk a little bit about the Heat because yesterday, obviously, they end up losing to the Nuggets 113-96. And last night, obviously, towards the end of that game, the Markieff Morris foul on Jokic, and then Jokic then comes back at him and, pushes him in the back pretty hard. And obviously he falls to the ground and he's in pain and discomfort and rolling around. Was it dirty on Jokic's part? Of course it is. There's no doubt that, he screwed up. But I will say this, in defense of Jokic, okay? Did Markieff Morris make a basketball move? I'm just going to be objective here, okay? I know I'm a Heat fan, and I love the Heat and all that, and I root for the Heat, and I would have liked to have seen, Butler and UD unleashed on Denver just to see what would happen because that would be fun. So I get all of that stuff, okay? All right. I'm just thinking of myself in the park, okay? And if I'm dribbling and some dude just runs into me, and really is not making a play on the ball, I might get pissed and retaliate also. And I might not care if he's facing me, if he's not facing me, or whatever. Why should Jokic give a shit whether Markieff Morris is ready for the push or not when Jokic was running down court and dribbling and pretty much minding his own business, and Markieff Morris had no intentions on going for the ball and just ran right into Jokic, who he could have knocked him down. He could have twisted his ankle. He could have hurt him. You never know. And so Jokic gets pissed off and retaliates. And, okay, maybe he went a little hard, but let me ask you something. Has that ever happened to you? That somebody surprises you with something and it pisses you off for the moment and you snap back quickly, but then you realize that you might have snapped back a little too hard? I think it's happened to all of us at one point or another in life. Friend, whatever, and hey, yo, man, relax. I was only messing around. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Those kind of things. And in a way, that's kind of what I thought of last night. That Jokic wasn't necessarily thinking about it being dirty, or he was looking that he was attacked in a dirty fashion. So he was going to retaliate no matter what, and you respond quickly, and the guy turns around on you, and you don't care at that moment. Like, screw you. You ran into me and you didn't care. You didn't even go for the basketball. So that's to me, that's the only part that I had a little problem with it. You know what I mean? That I just didn't feel like there was an effort for the ball. And there was an effort just to run right into Jokic. I mean, Sean, do me a favor, pull up the play if you can with Jokic and Markieff Morris. So just in case some of you didn't watch it last night, maybe you didn't stay up for the game last night. It was a late game, and it's going to get later over the next couple of nights because they're off tonight, but then tomorrow they start with the Lakers, and the following night they play the Clippers, and both are 10 o'clock games. That's going to be absolutely rough. When Sean pulls it up, I'll show it to you. And I just feel like it's not that I want to defend Jokic, but I just want to say, like, what did you expect? Did you expect that you were just going to run into the guy and he wasn't going to do anything? And he was just going to stand there like a little wuss and take the hit when you weren't even going for the basketball? That's where, so it's big O, look at what Jokic did to Bam. No, I know that. I get that. I get all of that. You got to take out the other one. But I understand all of that. But I'm just saying, if you end up retaliating like this, then you got to expect somebody to then hit you after. Was wrong in all of this. Yep. Okay? While Jokic was wrong in all of this, so is Markieff, dude. Let's just be honest, man. So if you're at the park, that's what I was thinking of. So if I'm not at the park and you just run into me like that, we're fighting, bro. I'm going right after you. Automatically. You didn't make a basketball play. You wanted to be an asshole. In street ball, that's a fight. What Markieff Morris did, that's a fight. So I get it. It's fashionable, okay, to be defending your home team in all of this. But, if you're going to take a cheap shot, then, hey, man, if somebody comes back at you with a cheap shot that's even harder, too effing bad, bro. So that's the part that I don't really have a lot of sympathy for Markieff Morris. If Markieff Morris was jumping in the air trying to knock the ball down, then at least I could say, okay, he's a little out of control. Maybe Jokic should not have pushed him. But Markieff had no intentions. He just wanted to run his ass right into him, or run him over or whatever. And if you're Jokic, I can understand why you would get pissed. I know this. You're not going to do that to me on the basketball court. And I'm not just going to, hey, what's up? Oh, foul. No, wham, that's your foul. That's what I'm going to do. This is, we have a saying in Spanish called un descarado. And that's what Markieff Morris is, un descarado. And you know what? And in Spanish, we like to say, well, then Jokic, you know what? Le voló un avión for being un descarado. So you paid the price. So there's no part of me that feels sorry for Markieff Morris. I don't feel sorry for Jokic. But I completely understand what Jokic did. It may not be right, but you shouldn't have taken the cheap shot. And the retaliation, hey, man, it can't be measured sometimes. Anger gets the best of you at that moment, and you don't know how you're going to unload. And that's what happened. He got pissed in that 1 second. And then he pushed Markieff Morris. Next time, Markieff, make it look good, dude. Make it actually a basketball move. If you make it just, a punk-ass move where you're just going to jam your shoulder into somebody's chest, which he could have easily fallen. He could have twisted his ankle. He could have gotten injured too. So, I don't know. For me, it just, So, suspension incoming for the MVP. Probably. They always get the guy that retaliates. It was a bump. He didn't knock him down. Darren, but he could have. That's the point, dude. You don't wait till they knock him down, Darren. Okay? I don't know if you've played pickup basketball, Darren, but that shit don't fly in pickup basketball. I'm sorry. That doesn't fly. Markieff Morris didn't make a basketball foul. So since he didn't get a basketball foul and they shoved his ass to the ground, you know what? Too bad for his ass. That's all. If you want to dish it, then you better be ready to receive it, man. And you guess what? He gave you a stronger push. Just like if you're battling with your best friend or your sibling and they hit you, you're going to hit them harder. That's how it always happens, right? You play that game where you hit each other in the arm, where you try to numb each other out. You're going to hit you're going to hit them the next time even harder and then harder and harder. That's the way it goes. So if you don't want to play this game, then maybe what you don't do is don't ram right into a 7-2 guy that can then push your ass down to the ground. So I am not really necessarily defending either action, but I understand both actions and the reaction. I'm not defending Markieff Morris. I'm not defending Jokic, but I understand what went on. And I'm not going to feel sorry for anybody that gets hurt, because if you want to play this game, this is the way it ends. So I don't think anybody deserves a break here. So it's just kind of funny that, you got to be today the Heat fan with the pom-poms and say, oh no, Jokic was all wrong, and act like Markieff Morris is innocent. That's ridiculous. Because if any of us get pushed like that on the court, you're not going to be happy about it. You're not just going to stand there and say, hey, why did you do that? Hey, don't do that. You're not there. That's not, at least not in my DNA. You're definitely not, you're not going to do it. That's for damn sure. Was David Boston mentioned? That's a pretty good one there. That's a pretty good one on the dishonor roll. Morris was not a b-ball move. Exactly, Andy. That's why. Next time, maybe you may not want to do that, so they don't push your ass to the ground and then you're not rolling around in pain. Hey, listen, Shayna, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash. All right? Use a little counterpoint from Airplane. Cleo Lemonade, very good. Big O, did you see Landon Roberts and the Tua video? Yes, I did. Yes, we talked about it yesterday. What's he telling him? What do you think he's telling him? He's probably telling him, hey, dude, I've played on a real team. This isn't one. They have the 3 worst linemen in the NFL. I keep telling you guys, there's no coaching here. None. 0. And all these players are being cheated every single day. Every single day. Every player on this roster is being cheated by this staff because they can't teach them. They can't prepare them because they don't know how to, and they're not good enough. All 53 of these guys don't suck. all of these rookies cannot, it's impossible that they can't play. It's impossible. It's impossible that all these veterans are also severely underachieving. So young and old are underachieving. The real problem on this whole thing is they have no coaches. That's the real problem on this team. And to watch Godsey and Omar yesterday go back and forth, that was hilarious. You got that cut there, Sean? Let's bring up Omar Kelly talking to George Godsey about the passing game and having to eliminate something called the deep ball because there is no time to wait for the deep ball. Sean, bring up Mr. Godsey there. Let's hear the exchange.
You said something that I really wonder about. How much, because of your protection issues, do you have to throw out of this playbook just because you guys don't seem to be able to protect at a respectable rate for either of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, there's some plays and some games that we're right on. We're doing a good job, and we're able to maybe hold on to it a little bit longer. And then others, like yesterday, where the ball had to come out of our hands. Again, it's those guys did a good job. Martin did a good job off the edge. I think there's some good rushes by Collins too inside. Those players are good players. We probably could have done a lot or a little bit more to help the line out. And when the game starts becoming how it was yesterday, we're trying to just get first downs and possess the ball, which overall, we ended up having more possession time than them, considering the turnovers, which was really a phenomenal feat when you look at those numbers. I mean, because we never want to turn the ball over that many times, but to still lead in possession, give credit to our defense for getting the ball back.
He has to end with that. But yeah, when they get to that point, they're just trying to get first downs, basically. And of course, because that's as far you got to. I used to have fun with Tannehill and being the man in the box. Which, by the way, he's kind of back to being the man in the box now. That's kind of what you are in this offense. You're the man in the box because you can't throw farther than 20 yards. You don't have time. And let me tell you something. When you see 3 linemen on the same team as the worst lineman in the NFL, if that's not, it couldn't be more obvious that it's because it's really mathematically almost impossible that you actually drafted and literally have 3 of the worst linemen on your offensive line. It's almost impossible to do that. So I am positive that all 3 guys are not the worst linemen in the NFL. But because they have no preparation, because they don't have a real teacher, because Brian Flores couldn't find a coaching staff if his life depended on it, this is why you have this. This is why your offense sucks. This is why your defense is terrible. This is why your special teams unit is terrible. This is why you're committing a ton of penalties. This is why you're committing 5 turnovers in a game. It's because it's a terrible coaching staff, period. That's it. That's all it is. There's no way in the world that all of these players on this team are terrible. There's no way X should be giving up 6 touchdowns already with 8 more games to go. No. He's given up 6 touchdown passes, okay, in 9 games. No, sorry. All of a sudden, you had Jerome Baker playing really good football last year. Now, the guy's useless. That's coaching, man. Van Ginkel was a factor. Now he's not really a factor. Something happened. So to me, there's no way in hell that this team is supposed to be this bad. And you can't find out. You'll never find out about the personnel department. They're going to go down in flames because they hired this coaching staff. But you really can't assess the personnel department and the players because you have no coaches. And because you have no coaches, you don't know what you have. If you actually had coaches, then you can really assess the players and you can really assess the quarterback. And you can assess the personnel department because then you can really know if they're good or bad. You know how we're going to find out over the next couple of years as these players leave here and go to other places? And if you track them and you start seeing, okay, well, this guy played well, this guy played well, this guy, well, what happened? Oh, okay, they were here. Because it's really, you can't assess Tua. You can't assess anything on this team because of the coaching. And listen, those of you that want to fire Greer, you want to fire Flo, you want Ross to sell, you're all of you have every right to say that, and you should feel like you're correct on all of that. You should. There's no proof to say to keep anybody. There's no proof to say that Stephen Ross will become a good owner. There's no proof right now. And even though I'm one of the few that would not change the personnel department because I still don't know. But I get it. I can't argue with anybody that wants to fire Greer, that wants to clean house, because nothing is working. I'd love to sit here and make a case for it, but I can't. But in my heart, I do feel like we'll never find out about this team unless you have a real coaching staff. Then you'll know if you have a personnel department. Then you'll know if these linemen can play, if Jalen Phillips can become a good defensive end, if Igbenogany can ever turn into a corner, if Tua's the real thing or not. If you have real coaching, you can find out about that. But since you don't, we're going to have to find out about these players when they go to another place. That's how it's going to be, because that's how it's always been with us. Let's see, if Tua would just line up in a very long shotgun, like punting distance, maybe Tua would have some time to throw the ball deep. No, Darren, because that would give the defensive end a straight line shot at the quarterback. He'd actually get there faster. That's why you can't do deep balls, because the 5 and 7 step drop takes the angle away from the pass rush, and it's more of a straight line rush. So if it's just a foot race, you're probably, the old linemen usually are going to lose that foot race all the time. But if you got to go around them in a 3-step stance, then that's a whole different ball game now. That's actually a longer way to go, because you literally have to go around the lineman, and then there might be somebody else there waiting for you, like a running back, if the running back can actually pick up the block. I don't think any amount of coaching will elevate Tua to a Pro Bowl status. Well, that's fine. Those of you that don't like Tua, you're never going to like Tua anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, I finally invested in crypto. I bought 2,000 SHIB and 50 ADA. What's your take? Well, when did you buy the ADA? Because the ADA just went up to like 240 today. Did you buy it today? After it went up, or did you buy it before it went up? SHIB is on a dip, so you did well on a dip. Remember what I've told you guys, that if you get into crypto, buy it on a dip. Don't buy it on the parabolic. Now, if you bought it on the parabolic alpha, then here's my suggestion. Even if there's a dip, don't panic, don't sell, hold on. ADA will go up anyways. It's going to go to $5-7. It's going to soar now. So I'm not worried about it, but I'm just telling you, be careful on that. And by the way, Matic is still a very good deal right now. I don't think it's gone up yet. That's one that I've actually, purchased a little lately. And I got Matic early, and I got it cheaper than way cheaper than it is now, but still. And you know what? It's at $1.85. It is still a steal. And if you get it at crypto.com, you can stake it for 10%. I consolidated some of my coins that way a couple months back. And like Stellar, I converted it to Matic. Reserve Rights, I converted it to Matic. Zilliq, I converted it to Matic. There were a couple coins that they were kind of slow movers, although RSR moved up today. It's almost 5 cents, so that was good. Nice move by them. But it's such a slow mover. It's going to take a while. Matic, with the staking at 10% plus the value it's going to go up, is one that I like a lot. So my suggestion, Alpha Daddy-O, is be patient and good luck to you and do your homework, sir. But ADA is definitely a great investment. The other SHIB, it's a gamble. I hope it works out for you, but it's a gamble. Big O, also, you can't elevate Tua because he's always hurt. He's Mr. Glass. The dude always gets hurt soaking in the tub. True. That's the one knock that I think he can play, but you're right about that. He's unreliable because he's not available. You're right. Ross is an absentee owner. Unfortunately, so would Bruce Beal. I don't know if Bruce Beal will be absentee or not or whatever. Let's see. How will we ever get better coaching staff if no one wants to come here? Well, you got to get the right head coach so you can get the right coaching staff. That's really the key. It's got to be a coach that can bring people here. And if you start creating the divide that I think Flores is creating, Flores has no shot at creating a good staff. That's what it seems like to me. He looks like he's difficult to get along with. So that'll be a problem. Let's see. What else do we have here? Justin Fields hit a 55-yard pass last night. Good for him. Good for him. He's a young kid. He's got a lot of growing to do. Frank C. says, happens all the time here. These clowns, coaches, and GMs destroy the franchise, then leave, get jobs elsewhere, and us fans are stuck with the mess for years. That is true. Hey, Nyborg says, saw a Fortune article this morning about a warehouse manager in England who invested $8,000 in SHIB and has just retired a millionaire. Yeah, if he got it early. Yeah, if he got it really early, for sure. Definitely. But yeah, he got it like 8 0 digits and then a number. You know what I mean? I don't know what number that is all the way back there. Now it's like 4 zeros and then the number. So he probably had it a lot earlier, and then he was able to make out like a bandit. Good for him, man. Once in a while, man, it happens. You get lucky, but you got to get them early. You got to move in early on it. Let's see. What else do we have? Tua has a noodle arm, and he is slow to throw the deep ball. Takes too long for him to throw deep, not like Herbert, where it's just a flick of the wrist to get it off. Flip side fishing, bro. This is the kind of thinking that you can't change anyways, because you think Drew Brees had this gun so he can throw deep or something like that. It's silly shit that people come up with. But hey, dude, whatever makes flip side fishing, whatever helps you sleep at night, my brother. You can say whatever, fills your head up with all kinds of crap and whatever. You know how many big guys like him can't play in the NFL? I can name 50 of them in the history of the NFL, of guys that had big ass arms and they were big dudes. And in the key moments, they'd fold like cheap chairs. Doesn't matter if you can throw 4,000 feet and at 500 miles an hour. That's the dumbest shit that people come up with. And it's just silly ass stuff that fans come up with. Meanwhile, Bob Greasy didn't have a gun, and neither does Drew Brees, and neither does Fran Tarkenton, and several other quarterbacks over the history of time that have been successful quarterbacks, and they don't have to have this gun and this incredibly quick release. This is so stupid. It's just, those of you that paint a picture and you think every quarterback looks like Herbert, You're not actually watching the league. You're just not. Because quarterbacks come in all shapes and sizes, and they have all kinds of arms. And guys like Tua have had success. Joe Montana and Tua, there's no difference in arm strength. The difference is the experience, the knowledge, and obviously health. Joe at least stayed healthy all his career until late. But then again, Joe played with Bill Walsh. What the hell is Tua playing with? Bill Walsh had an incredible staff. What the hell is Tua playing with? So, but again, you can fill your head up with whatever crap you want if that's what you want to think. But they won a couple of Super Bowls with a noodle arm in Bob Greasy, because Bob Greasy did not have Steve Bartkowski's arm. But he can make every throw that you needed. It's all about anticipation and accuracy and ball placement, which is what Greasy had, which is what Breeze has, which is what Tua has. But if you don't have the right coaching, you're not going to get there. This whole crap about you people build yourselves up with this image that a quarterback has to look like that. And what? Then they end up with like what? Jeff George? Like Achilles Smith? Like Jamarcus Russell? Please, dude. What are they going to be? Jared Goff? Come on, man. I've seen the big guys that got the big arms and all that stuff. That doesn't make you a great quarterback either. And Herbert hasn't developed into a great quarterback either. So I'm not sure what you're watching. You're watching a bunch of stats, usually against bad teams. So when he starts winning big against real teams in real moments, look, this is the same bullshit that I go through with the whole Tannehill thing. And I always have a certain section of Dolph fans that wouldn't know what a real quarterback looks like, and they fall for the Tannehill thing too. And it's all Derrick Henry. And you look at him now, this year, there have been times that they stopped Derrick Henry, and he does nothing. This past week, they won, and he did nothing in that game. Nothing. He was mediocre. He's got, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions on the year? Why? Because he doesn't have the hog dominating anymore. But people will spin whatever they want. And yes, I know Herbert's going into the Hall of Fame already because he's big and he's got a big arm and he's put up some stats, but hasn't won jack shit. It's amazing. Really is. Big O, how do you think the presser went after the game with Mike Tomlin? I have no idea. I told you I didn't prepare for this show. I didn't watch that game anyways. I had no intentions on watching that game last night. I think, you know what? I was channel surfing and I stopped for about 60 seconds and I caught the Notre Dame kid catching a ball in the air that he trapped in his chest and fell backwards. Great catch. And that's it. That's that. And I switched and I kept going. That's the only thing I saw. I did see on internet the running back talking Spanish, Najee Harris. That was actually kind of funny with the Univision guy. That was good. Vanguards of Manhood said at the end of the season, there will be several veteran coaches out the door. Pete Carroll and possibly Frank Reich may be available, but both far superior than FloJo. Yeah, and you're gonna have to hire him as a head coach because they're not gonna work for Flo. I hear the big crypto crash is coming at the end of this bull run soon. Darren, when you actually know something about crypto, then you can talk about crypto. But meanwhile, don't give me any bullshit about what you hear when you know nothing about crypto. Let's see. Because I had to hear from Tremolio too, which he hasn't been on the chat board in a while, but he would do the same thing. Knows nothing, zero about crypto, but he kept throwing his opinion out there, not knowing jack shit about crypto, but that's all right. It's all good. All you guys full of FUD, and you listen to some idiot that doesn't know anything about crypto, and then you just repeat what the other idiot says, and then you sound like an idiot for repeating what the other idiot said. I've heard it for months now. but it's crashing and this won't go and this won't happen and all that. And, and the technical analysis guys and all that. And what people don't realize with crypto is that it is a community that is in a process of growing. So the stages of volatility will be getting smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on because of the institutional money that is coming in, and that institutional money is entrenching itself in it. So they don't plan on selling. And so they become the foundation of it. The people that sell in panic, Darren, are the people like you that pay attention to the BS and to the lies that are out there. That's what's happened the last couple of months with the volatility, because the whales were trying to manipulate it, and they did successfully. And they forced a lot of really hard-working people out there, like yourself, Darren, to panic and end up selling their crypto. And that's what happened. A lot of people sold, and they ended up losing billions in the process. Meanwhile, the billionaires and all of these investment firms are laughing their asses off that average Joes like us are losing our asses and panicking and selling so they can come in at a lower price. So, yes. So there's always that kind of stuff. And usually it comes from the people that actually don't follow crypto and don't know anything about crypto. So, I think if you followed this with me over the last year, I think I've been incredibly accurate overall about all the stuff that's been going on. I'm not perfect, because nobody's perfect. But man, we have been pretty much on target on telling you everything that's going on in crypto. When there was a market correction, I told you it wasn't a crash. It was a correction. I told you to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Those of us that bought the dip, you're loving the hell out of life right now because you're watching your portfolio explode. You know what I mean? So all that kind of FUD. And for those of you who don't know, FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So that's what people put out there, fake news, in other words, but we call it FUD on this side of the world with crypto. So that's, it's a big crypto crash and this and that. That always comes from the people that don't know anything, don't really follow it. Those by the way, the days of it like crashing, like it's over and all those kind of things, and that Bitcoin goes down to $8,000 or something like that, those days are done. Those days are done. Now, your altcoins, yes, you will have major retractions at times with altcoins. But with Bitcoin, I don't think those volatility stages like that are going to be that bad anymore. Will there be a correction of 15, 20, 30% at times? For sure. That can happen because people that buy low, they need to get out, man. If you bought Cardano at 13 cents, let's say, I wish I would have, but let's say you bought it at 13 cents and it went up right now to $2.40. But let's say it gets up to $3.40. And you're thinking, hey, man, I bought it at 13 cents and I've got 50,000 shares. You know what? Let me start taking out some. And so there's always a point as things go parabolic. You're going to have people that are going to sell out because they made an investment. Now they've made some money. They're entitled to get the money out. But those things, that the thought of that everybody's going to sell out, I think we're way past that already. We're way past it already. Because look, yesterday there was an investment firm that sold some gold to buy Bitcoin. They freaking sold gold because gold hasn't moved in 10 years. But, idiots that don't invest and don't know squat, they'll probably go, oh, no, I'm not going to invest in crypto. I'm going to invest in gold. And then you'll look at them and go, gold hasn't moved in 10 years. Huh? Meanwhile, crypto has moved 4 billion% in 10 years. It's not even close. So there you go. I got a bunch of Matic waiting on it to pop. Thanks for the advice. So, yeah, well, Matic is, and if you bought it on crypto.com, Chris, stake it, you get 10%. So if you got $1,000 of Matic, you're going to get $100 extra Matic over the year. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, every other week, Matic is dropping in my wallet. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome, awesome, awesome. Free Matic, free Matic, free Matic. Crow went up to 40 cents. I got Crow like at 8, 10 cents, 12 cents, 14 cents. And now, for months now, I've been getting free Crow, free Crow, free Crow. And now it went up to 40 cents. So all that Crow I got ended up exploding also for free. You know, that's kind of the game. It multiplies, and I think it's 8% for my Crow, 10% for Matic, 4.5% for Bitcoin, 5.5% for Ethereum. So I'm adding more Ethereum, I'm adding more Bitcoin, I'm adding more Matic, I'm adding more. That's what I like to do. That makes a lot of sense. And, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine. Let me give you a little tip for those of you that, because when you stake, okay, and what staking is, let's say you get, $500 of Cardano or Matic or Bitcoin or Ethereum, and you stake it on crypto.com. Now you stake it for a month or 3 months. You can't touch it. It's locked. You have no access to it because they're using it for lending. That's why you're getting the interest, right? And then when your month is done or 3 months, then it gets unlocked and it gets back into your wallet and you have it, and then you can restake it again, along with the interest that you gained. So that way you're staking even more, right? You can do that. Now, some of you may be concerned, well, what happens if the market goes, down and I need to sell, but it's locked? This is what you do. So just to give you a tip, and you can do it however you want. This is the way I do things. You can do it your way. I'm just giving you advice. Because your money is sitting there and gaining value as it goes up in value, that's great. But if you stake it also, you're now gaining value and gaining interest. So your money is working for you two ways. That's super smart, right? But if you have it all locked in and it skyrockets to a point that you want to get out and you can't, that's bad, right? So what you do is, let's say you've got $10,000 of Ethereum. Let's just say, let's throw that number out. Okay. So what you do is, you choose a percentage of it. You're not really ever going to sell it all because you want to keep long term. So what you do is, let's say you stake 40% of it and 60% you leave it liquid. That way, if it skyrockets to a point that you can get out, you start taking out profits there. Take it out from your 60 it's sitting there. Meanwhile, while the 40 is staked, it's earning interest and earning more Ethereum for you. If you stake it all, then you have no access to it. Now, you can do it however you want. You want to stake 80%, keep 20 liquid. You want to stake 20, keep 80 liquid. You do it however you want. It's up to you. But I would have a portion of my coins staked because that way it's earning interest for you. It only makes sense. Give yourself the opportunity to make extra money two ways. So that way the coin's going up in value one way, and then you're also getting interest on the other side. It's a smart thing to do. But decide on what percentage is good for you. Now, if you intend on pumping and dumping and you're just waiting, well, then just keep it all liquid and then don't worry about it. But if you're doing long term, like my Bitcoin, it's all staked. I never plan on selling Bitcoin. If the Lord allows me to live a longer life and be around another 10, 15, 20 years, the only thing I'm hoping for is, as that builds in value, I can just hand it off to my daughter. That's what I would like to do with my Bitcoin. Obviously I would use it in an emergency situation if I need it for myself, my wife, whatever. But in a perfect world, that's going to be my savings. Now, everything else, my Ethereum, my Cardano, all that, I will stake. So I will have it, some of it long term, but there's a portion that, of course, I'm going to sell because you got to make an investment. You got to make some money. And one of the things that you should do, by the way, is have a plan. Okay? Make your investment. As you're making your profit, let's say your coin goes up 30% or 40%. Take 10% off. Take 10% of profit off and let it go and keep going. And when it goes up another 30 or 40% or 50%, take another 10% off and keep taking it off so you can get your investment back in the process. And if you want to use the money, you go ahead, use your money. If you want to keep it on a USDC coin, you can do that and stake that and make it 10%. And that way there's no risk because USDC coin is backed by the dollar. So you leave it sit there and it's gaining 10% interest, which you're not going to get at a bank. And no risk. And that way, and you keep your money liquid there. So if there's a major dip in the market, you can then buy the dip. But balance yourselves out. Don't put yourselves in a corner while you're doing this. Okay? Have a plan. Think about that plan and think about what's going on in that plan. Like I have Cardano, example, I got Cardano somewhere in the 90 cent to $1 range. Okay? It's at 240 now. So I've already gone well over 100% in the coin. So I've already pulled back some profits from that because I want to get my initial investment out. And then I start taking out even more as profits. But I take out 10% every 30, 40, 50% that rises. So that way, while I'm taking 10% out of the 30, 40, or 50% on the right, however you want to do it, I'm still leaving the majority of it rising and gaining, but I'm still taking out profits along the way. And I'm not crippling the account, and I'm allowing it to still grow. You understand? So it's really important that you find a balance. We're all different. You know, some of you out there may have a lot of money. God bless you. And you're much more comfortable. So maybe you're willing to stake a lot more and have less liquid because you don't need the money. God bless you if you're in that position. Those of us that are a little bit more hardworking stiffs like myself, and we're not rich and we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the market or anything, but we got to keep, a lot of it liquid so we can make some profits. It's a tricky thing, but have a plan. Okay? Have a plan and follow it. Follow it to a T. So that way, stay disciplined in that plan. And you'll be fine. You're going to make lots of money. And those of you that have gone with all the coins I've told you, you're all making some cash. One of you sent me, you put $1,500 and you're up to almost $5,000, man, which is, that's good for you, man. Good for you. That's pretty cool. Chris Adams, thank you, my brother. A little love on the super chat. He says, what new crypto is going to come out soon that I should look at? I like to get in early. Well, I've been telling you about CKB. Did you look into CKB? It's right. I told you when it was at just under 2 cents at 1.9 to 2 cents. It went all the way up to 3 cents. Now it's gone back down to 2.5 because it was at 2 cents. It shot up to 3.22 actually. 3.25 cents. That's an enormous move. That's almost like 60% of your investment you're already getting back, which is just ridiculous, right? And now it came back a little bit. You know what I did? It found a floor right around the 2.5s. In front of you guys yesterday, I purchased some CKB. The inoperability is an enormous issue that's going to go on in crypto now. And CKB is part of the Cardano ecosystem. And Cardano has so many dApps, so many businesses that are being built on their blockchain that they're going to need a company like CKB that can connect all of them together and bridge them all so they can do business with each other, so wallets can connect. So inoperability is a problem that is going to be rearing its ugly head in crypto for many years to come because you have so many blockchains coming out that they all have different formats. And so you've got to connect them in order for them to do business together. So that's why businesses like CKB are going to be needed. And so it went down to 2.5 yesterday when it was at, over 3 pennies over the weekend, which again, that's an enormous move because you think about it. You put $200 in and at 2 pennies and it goes up to 3.22, you're making over $100 already, like $120 or something like that. That's sick to get that kind of a return. And let me tell you the latest on it. I'm waiting for the damn thing to refresh here so I can give you the latest price and see if CKB has gone up or down. It was down 2% the last time I checked. Is this thing going to refresh or what? Come on, baby. Let's go. Nervos, by the way, is at 2.55. And it's on a little bit of a dip. So this right now would be a good one. CKB is one that I like on crypto.com. Cheap. You can buy several coins and just hang on. Nice slow build. Joe Castillo says, this will be our 4th coach in a row that has 0 head coaching experience. Do we think it's time to find someone that's done it before and stop experimenting? Like who? Who, Joe? That's the question. It's really easy to throw all that out, but who can you guarantee you that you're going to feel really good and will lead the team somewhere? And I know people have mentioned, like, let's say Doug Peterson, but he lost his team in Philadelphia. That's the screwed up part. So it's just not easy, man. Let's see. Caddyshack says, it's against league rules to lie about an injury. They say Tua has a fracture in his finger. You cannot lie about that. Yeah, no, of course he's got a fracture. I mean, the Dolphins need him to play so they can actually try to trade him. They don't want him, remember? So they need him to play. They're not going to stop him from playing. As a Finns fan, I just have to learn to fall in love with the process. I knew this wasn't a Super Bowl contender. Fans have no patience. Alpha Daddy-o, their patience. You can't ask people to have patience with what they're watching, my brother. That's not realistic. It just they look so discombobulated right now. They look so inept. That's the problem. I haven't even taken a break, right, Sean? Since I got on? All right, let's take a break. Not bad for not even preparing. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Hour number 2 is next.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show. Judge, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843 free. That's 305-433-4843 for ejdconstruction.com.
Offense to the heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Friday Pablo in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchased with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Show O's on the radio, the top's where we gonna go, Miami, that's the way we roll.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
On the morning show, we go. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk...
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Live and direct, because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live.
When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee, and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today. 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Yes, sir. It's a beautiful thing. It's hour number 2. Welcome aboard. Let's see. We got a bunch of questions here. Sean Stanley, of course, driving the program. Manny Navarro will join us at 12:30. So we will talk a little Hurricanes football with Manny in about an hour. Heat lose last night, 113-96. They're off tonight, Wednesday in Los Angeles to take on the Lakers. And then Thursday, they'll take on the Clippers. Rangers defeat the Panthers 4-3. A nice little comeback for the Panthers last night, but all for naught. It's just early on. They got bombarded a couple times. I felt bad for Knight because it was so packed around the crease that it was hard for him to. 2 of those goals were kind of hard for him to really save last night, but a rough one. So they end up losing tonight. They're in Jersey to take on the Devils. So let's hope that they're able to bounce back. Steelers defeat the Bears 29-27. Pitt improves to 5-3. The Bears are the Bears. They're 3-5. Raiders released a cornerback, Arnett. We'll get into that with the whole gun issue. I got all kinds of stuff that we'll get into as the hour goes on. I got some folks asking me all kinds of things here on the chat board. Derek asked me, Big O, how good was the O-line in front of Marino back in the day? Were they ranked high? They weren't a great run blocking team. They didn't have a great running back. They had serviceable backs at times. They had some good pass catching backs, but they didn't really have a running game that people feared. But Webb and Sims were obviously studs. And you had and I think Ruddy came in. He was a solid player later on in Marino's run towards the end. But it was a decent line, okay? On the left side, it was excellent. On the right side, it was all right. It was serviceable. Dan also did a good job of getting rid of the football. I mean, cat quick, dude. You know, he was awesome. So it was a serviceable line. But Marino was a different kind of player, dude. Marino's one of those guys you cannot explain. You had to just watch it. You know what I mean? But they were a good pass blocking unit, Derek. That's what they were. They weren't a great run blocking unit. And, Dan wasn't necessarily committed to the run at times. I'm sure Shula wanted to be committed to the run, but he didn't also. And to Shula's credit, he tried with Overstreet. He tried with Sammy Smith. He tried. It just never worked out. Just like in the Marino era, he could never get a defense to really complement Marino, like he couldn't get a running game to complement Marino. He just never, it was never good enough that Dan said, okay, yeah, this will help me. He never respected the running game enough. It was just serviceable enough. Troy Stratford was solid. I mean, Higgs would do a serviceable job. Tony Nathan was a terrific pass catching back, but not necessarily a great running back. I know what he was in Alabama, but in the NFL, he wasn't ever a great runner. So they never had that guy, and they tried. They tried all kinds of ways. It just never worked out. But they were a good pass blocking unit, Derek. And then Marino also had the quick radar, so that helped out. He would find his guy like that. Let's see. What else do we have here? Vanguard says QB with a weak arm. Not every QB with a weak arm will be Drew Brees. The majority don't make it in the NFL. Tua's arm isn't even average. Montana had a much stronger arm. Vanguard, you didn't watch Montana then, bro. You're lying then. I watched Montana. I saw him in person several times. Not sure if you did. I don't even know if you're old enough to have seen Montana. Okay? That's bullshit. Breeze, Montana, Tua, same arm. Do you know what's the difference between that, between Tua and what Montana has? Let's see. Roger Craig, is he on this team? I'm sorry, I must have missed it. Where is he? Okay, is Tom Rathman there? Because those are two guys that can catch and can actually run the ball too. So they put a little fear. Where's Jerry Rice on this team? Trying to figure that out because I don't know. So is Russ Francis anywhere to be found at tight end? And what I mean by that is I love Gesicki, but this guy also can block and help you out too. Russ Francis was a badass. Where's Bubba Paris on the line? Where's Jesse Sapolo? Where's Randy Cross besides the Hall of Fame? See, this is why, Vanguards, when you pull stuff like this out of your ass, I'm going to crush it. Because Montana can have a pocket, step into, and throw. What pocket does Tua have to step in to throw? What Jerry Rice does he have to step in to throw? This is why it's like, give me a break, dude. Is Harris Barton on the other side at tackle? I must have missed Bubba Paris and Harris Barton. You're probably too young to even know these names too, as it is. By the way, where's Bill Walsh here designing everything? I'm sorry, I must have missed that. Because, Bob Greasy had an awesome offensive line and Kuchenberg and Little and all these guys, right? And then he also had a guy named Paul Warfield. And he had a noodle arm too. Joe Montana didn't have a great arm. I watched Joe Montana live. He had a decent arm. But he's super smart. Anticipation skills like Drew Brees. Or Drew Brees like Montana, however you want to do it, obviously, because Montana's first. I mean, that's the problem here, man. You guys keep comparing apples and oranges. Tua is playing with dog shit. Montana was playing with Hall of Famers around him, and he's a Hall of Famer. It's a huge difference, man. Is there one Hall of Famer on the offense? Thank you very much. I mean, it's just, you guys pull stuff out of your ass and you make it sound like Montana could come here and just like kick ass. Behind this line, behind no running game, no coaching, no nothing. Most players would die here. That's why Steve Young looked like he looked in Tampa Bay. And then when you go see him over in San Francisco, he looks like a world beater. Because, of course, you got a real coach designing everything. Maybe all of us venting is adding to your sleep apnea. Nah, see, Dola, it's my stupid, lazy ass doing it. It's all my fault, dude. I can't blame anything. I can't blame the pandemic and all that because a lot of people, well, it's a pandemic. I got pandemic weight. I was stuck at home. All that. We could have easily been, on a Peloton at home. We could have easily walked around the block a whole bunch of times. Those of us that gain weight. We gain weight because our asses felt like sitting on the couch, watching television, doing nothing, and eating a whole bunch of crap. So, no, I'm not blaming you guys, C-Dola. I'm blaming my ass. I'm the idiot that ended up gaining all this weight again. I put myself in this position. Terrible. Thomas Jensen says, Big O, truthfully answer my question. Do you think Tua can – do I lie on your answers, by the way? Tua can Tua stay healthy for a complete season? Is your answer no or I don't know, it's time to move along? No. I don't believe he can stay healthy for a season. Remember, C-Dola. No, it's not C-Dola. Thomas. I would have never drafted Tua. Just because I believe he can play, obviously if he has the right coaches and people around him, not this garbage. But I believe he can play. Now, I've never believed in him being healthy. I mean, if you followed the show leading up to the draft 2 years ago, I would have never drafted Tua. And I would have never drafted Herbert either, by the way, just in case. Because I was not believing on him because of the whole introvert stuff. Plus, I didn't see anything in Oregon, as I've said many, many, many times over. But yeah, Tua, I've never looked at Tua as a durable player. That's my only concern with Tua, is that he is not durable at all. So no. That alone should knock him off the perch. I see where you're going. It's all good. Let's see. What else do we have? Mr. Spock, Flo is toast. His ass is going back to Foxborough. Losing Gailey and the revolving door of his staff has been a disaster. Flo has no idea what the offense is supposed to look like. RPO, get the F out of here. Mr. Spock, who the hell's going to argue with you, bro? You are right on target, my man. Big O, you deserve a day off for what you said for us on a daily basis. For someone who said they're not prepared today, you seem prepared. No, I'm not prepared. I'm just kind of winging it right now, to be honest with you. I am not prepared at all. I did not prepare for the show, unfortunately. Caddyshack says, Scott, everyone is around Tua constantly talking to him. You just love your head in the sand. You just love your head in the sand and fall to see what your fake BS. Okay. Hey, Flo, is my finger broken? Big O, you convinced me to explore our other sports teams, and I took your advice. Watch the Panthers lose, but they still look sharp as hell. Yeah, man. Even when they were losing early, and they were aggressive as hell, man. It was one of those rough nights for them. Just things didn't go their way, but they played their asses off last night. That was a lot of fun. Like they made it a game and everything. They made it interesting. Like the Heat game was not interesting. It's like they pulled away and it was over, unfortunately. It wasn't their night, but that's basketball. We did lose the Heat plus 1.5. I mean minus 1.5. We lost. Tyler came on after over 17.5. I took it, lost. We took Duncan over 11.5. We won that. And we won. Oh, and we won the over 5.5 goals for the Panthers and the Rangers last night. So that was good. So Dork gave us good advice. Joe Shad gave us crappy advice about that one. So yeah. When is it ever a good time to buy Bitcoin? Eventually it will go over 100K. So should I get it while I can? Yes, you should, sir. Yeah. Yeah. You know, what a lot of you could do is, like, depending on whatever your salary is, whatever you could afford, but you could do a dollar cost average type of thing. Like, you get paid every 2 weeks, buy $25 of Bitcoin and just leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there. Just buy it and leave it there. Leave it there. Don't worry about the market. Don't look at it. Don't drive yourself crazy, because there's most people cannot look at the market all the time because they will overreact too much. And one of the things that I've told you guys always is look at macro, not micro. Because if you just look at it over the last couple of days and it was bad, but yet if you look at it over the last month, you're up 25%. So yeah, the last couple of days you're down 8%, but you're like, wait a minute, I'm up 25 for the month. Wait a minute, I'm up 62 for 3 months. Like yesterday, I tweeted out VeChain, right? Because again, you've got to look at the macro, not the micro. And so a lot of people, they look at VeChain and it's like 18 cents right now. So up until last night it said last 8 hours up 6.6%. Last 24 hours, 11.16%. Last 7 days, 33%. Last 30 days, 51%. Last 90 days, it's up 60%. You see what I'm saying? So it's on a trajectory right now, VeChain. So, but you have to look at it in a macro. So that's why I'm telling you that right now, Bitcoin is just under 70,000. It's going to go to 200, 300,000. So if you don't have to go put $1,000 if you can't afford it right now, or $10,000. But if you can afford $100 or $20 or $10 or $15, then do that. And if you can't put a major portion of it, it's look, man, let me give you an example. It's a great example, right? So if you put the $25, and that's why I'm keeping this here forever. So it was at $1. It was $7 over, but right now it's $5.68. That's the $99 I got from Aaron Rodgers. There. And it's $5.67. So imagine if you put $25 and it goes up a little bit, and you put $25 and it goes up a little bit, and $25 and everything continues to go up, your money is going to continue to double and triple down the line as Bitcoin doubles and triples down the line. But you can do it at a slower pace if you can't afford to put in a lump sum right now. So you might as well just, hey man, I can afford $10. So put $10, buy $10 of Bitcoin, buy another $10 in 2 weeks, buy a 25, buy 30, buy 15. And before you know it, that thing is going to grow, man. Take advantage. Do it that way. Trust me. You'll be fine. Not a financial advisor, but that's something that I would do if I'm in that position. And if you're a newbie, like I told you, go safe, man. Go Bitcoin, go Ethereum. Get the ones that are definitely climbing. You can invest in Binance. You can invest in some of these that they're just going to continue to climb. And that way you're always safe with your portfolio. And remember, when there's dips, you don't panic. When you're invested in a good coin, you buy again is what you do. So that way when it bounces back, you're making the cash, baby. Let's see, what else do we have here? Najee Harris should be a Finn, Larry in Columbus. You are correct. Would be nice. But then again, behind this line, he may not even do anything. Big O, how good are the fries at Sports Grill? Looking at the picture ad on your show, they look damn good. They're delicious. They are awesome. We have them every week, Sean and myself. So, yes. Come on out when you come down to South Florida. Come join us. Sofla Don is saying Cardano up. Damn right. It's a beautiful thing. Crypto must be an advertiser. Not yet. Not yet, Andy. But it should be. We should have a crypto advertiser. You are correct, sir. Let's see. Checking into CRT before selling a large amount of investments. CRT or CKB, you mean? You mean CKB? Or I think you meant CKB, right? You're talking about you're talking about the nervous network, CKB? Nervos, Nervous. There is a 4-year cycle, Big O. The bull run is ending soon as we enter the bear period. Yeah. I'm sure you've read that everywhere else, and everywhere else is telling you. Nobody knows, dude. That's, again, Darren, you're just repeating crap that somebody else says that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't believe in that 4-year cycle anymore. Okay? I think some things will have a cycle, and some things will become Tesla and Amazon and Apple and, Microsoft and Visa. And you know what I'm talking about? Those kind of stocks that always continue to rise, and they're money stocks. That's it right there. There's going to be cryptos that are now going to become the Apples. And they're going to be the Amazons, whether you like it or not, and they're just going to continue to climb. And Bitcoin is definitely one of those. I believe Ethereum is one of those. I think Matic, Polkadot, Binance, I believe VeChain will be like that. There are certain coins that are not going to have the same kind of fluctuations as they've had in the past. Gold went up in the last 10 years. Gold hasn't gone up in 10 years, my brother. What are you talking about, Jerry? Gold has been practically standstill for 10 years. Is this a crypto show now? No, this is my show. And on my show, I talk about whatever the hell I want. Are we clear on that? Always love the folks that want to try to chime in and say, hey, stop talking about this. Hey, don't do this. Hey, are we talking about this now? Yeah, it's called the Big O Radio Show. So if I feel like talking about sleep apnea or farts, that's what I'm going to talk about. Big O hoping Odell gets claimed by us so Tua can actually have another wide receiver to throw to instead of Waddle and Gesicki doing everything in Hollins. Yeah, all right, bro. You keep dreaming about that. Oh, I humbly ask you, do you own any XRP? No. And if not, why? I missed your answer previously. Why? Because crypto's volatile enough. Why am I going to own something that's in the middle of a court case with the SEC? And you know what I love about the people that own XRP? Every time I meet one of them and they mention we talk about the court case, every one of them says, no, but it's ending tomorrow or next week we'll have the answer. This has been going on for like a half a year. They've been telling me this. And I laugh my ass off every time. You know what they sound like? They sound like Drew Rosenhaus and the dude from Pro Football Talk that kept thinking they were going to resolve all the issues for the Deshaun Watson case by either the beginning of the season or the trade deadline. It's like every time I look at an XRP holder, it's like, do you guys know what court cases are? Do you know how long they last? You know how long these issues, do you know you're up against the government and the SEC? Do you think they're just going to roll over? Like, I think XRP wins the case eventually, but this thing drags out, dude. It's been dragging out. That's why I'm tired of hearing the XRP idiots tell me that the court case is done next week and tomorrow, and we'll have an answer yesterday or last month or 3 months ago. It's like, I get it. You're invested. I understand. But, dude, be a little bit more objective even with your investment. Don't blind yourself. You're in the middle of a court case. This has happened to me about 20 times now over the last 6 months with XRP owners. And it's like, okay, whatever, man. You know? The question is, how long does it take while others catch up? That's the problem that XRP has. That other companies may catch up and close the gap of what XRP needs to do in this country, and that is going to be a problem for XRP and its owners. That's what I fear for those of you that own XRP. Again, never invest in a crypto or in a stock or in any company that is in the middle of litigation against the U.S. government and the SEC. And I'm not talking about the Southeastern Conference. You're going against the Security Exchange Commission, buddy. You are, strap them in. That ain't going to be an easy fight. Let's see. Can crypto be explained to a 5-year-old? 5-year-old may understand it better than a 50-year-old. Okay. Young people actually have it, not 5, but young people actually have a tendency of understanding it a lot faster than older people who close themselves out. Big O, a friend told me not to invest in any cryptocurrency without a white paper. What's that? Well, the white paper is, I think what he means is do your homework and go read what it's all about before you do the investing. See what the market cap is, see who's involved, what kind of money is behind it, all that kind of stuff, I think is what he's talking about. That's what I think he means by that. Do your homework, man. None of you should invest a damn dime in anything if you don't do your homework. Big O, Tua may be the gamble with you, blind leading the blind. You could be right, Joel. You could be right. The show is better than current Stern shows. All right. Big O, what's the status of Shiba Inu? I think it's consolidating. It's in the 50s, if I'm correct. Let me see. Last time I checked, it's down 1.3%, so it's not down too much today, but it went down to, it was up in the 70s, I want to say, it got to the 80s actually, and then it consolidated. Of course, listen, man, this thing was in the 7s, and it shot up all the way to the 80s. So in parabolic moves, there's going to be a correction. And then when there's a correction, then there's a consolidation. And right now, Shiba is consolidating around 55. So that's it's been stuck there the last couple of days, right in that area. So it looks like it's found a floor. It had a floor at 5, 6, and 7 for a while. And now it's found a floor in the 50s. That's a really good thing for any coin. People look at it as a down, but if it comes back, but it still finds a higher floor and it stays there and it trades sideways, that's an enormous strength. Big O, make sure you set up a trust and put all of your crypto in there for your daughter when you pass. Of course. Definitely. She'll have the keys. She'll have everything. She'll be set up, dude. I will leave it all for my daughter. I mean, at this age, I'm not doing jack shit for me, dude. For me, it's going to a concert, hanging out with the wife and the dogs and doing the show with all of you and Sean. And, that's it. My life is pretty simple at this point. I don't need all this craziness I'm doing and with crypto. It's all for the kid. It's not for me. You know what I mean? Maybe pay a couple bills, but that's about it. Let's see. A CRT will save you on taxes and leave you in a great position for the future of you and your family. Thank you, Caddyshack. Appreciate you, my man. Big O, I missed out on the beginning of the show, but wanted to know if you talked about the video with Roberts and Tua on the sideline. It looks like he said, I can watch the replay if so. Dude, I don't know why we're so worried about that. Who cares what he said? To me, he's probably saying, kid, hang in there. You'll be in a better franchise next year. This place is dog crap. That's more like what he was saying. I'd hire Romo as an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. I don't know about that one. What else do we have here? Michael says, if the coaching staff is now running a West Coast offense, why did they draft a QB that doesn't fit whatever this offense is? Michael, I can't answer anything that's going on here. There's no explanation to anything that's going on here. Eric says, David Overstreet was very good running back. His death was really tragic. Yes, it was. Very sad. Very sad. What else do we have here? It's a weak QB class in this year's draft. Until we get a true franchise QB, nothing will change. Well, my brother, you can have a franchise QB, but if you don't have a front office and a head coach that know what the hell they're doing, that's going to be a problem. Okay? So they've got to get all their stuff straightened out too. Big O, what was your favorite year covering the Dolphins football? The most memories when you started doing Dolphin pre and post game? Anthony, I mean, I have to go with the Zach and Jason years. They didn't end very well every year because, unfortunately, Jimmy flopped in the playoffs pretty much every time, and Wanstead also flopped in the playoffs too. But those were probably my favorite years because, I got to know all those guys, and they were really good dudes. And that was a really fun defense to watch, man. I felt so bad for them because they would bust their asses and the offense could not support them. And it was always a struggle for that offense to score 17 points. So, it just tough. But it was fun. Those guys, Tim Bowens is a great dude. Jason Taylor is class. Zach Thomas is as perfect as they get as a human being. Pat and Sam are just absolutely fantastic people and characters and just great players too on top of all of that. Forgot to mention that these guys are pretty damn good players too, but it was a lot of fun to be around them because they were good dudes overall. And, I got to meet other people along the way. Keith Sims, a guy that also I've got a friendship with. I was able to cover his final days with Shula, and then the Shula's final days, then his final couple of years with Jimmy, and got to know Keith. So Keith and I go back and forth on crypto all the time, by the way. Speaking of crypto, Keith Sims is huge on crypto, actually. So he and I are texting back and forth, talking crypto all the time. So I've been giving him some pointers on crypto and helping him out and building a little portfolio there as he tries to figure this thing out. So I've impressed him lately with some skills on some coins because I give him some coins and they've gone way up and he's like, holy crap, keep it coming, oh. So he's loving the crypto trip too right now. But and Richmond Webb is the dude, and you probably have met someone like this in your life. That person that if you don't get along with them, then there's something wrong with you because everybody gets along with that guy. That's Richmond Webb. Like Richmond Webb is just like it's beyond class. I don't know if there's something beyond class, but whatever the adjective you want to use beyond class, that's Richmond Webb. You know what I'm saying? So Webb, Sims, Ruddy. Ruddy was great. By the way, Ruddy was the biggest con in the history of the Miami Dolphins, and I mean this in a really good way, by the way, just in case this gets back to Tim Ruddy, who Tim knows I love him. I got nothing but love for him. But he was the best at this. So we'd all gather around, mics, pads, pencils, whatever. Everybody, whatever you were using, cameras, I'm using a mic, whatever. We ask him questions. Tim Ruddy was the most boring interview. He'd say everything vanilla, right? And he did it all on purpose. And so on Fridays, we had this thing called Off the Record practically. It was called, and we didn't call it Off the Record, but it was Off the Record with Tim Ruddy. It wasn't like something we labeled or anything. It was just a moment that we'd all would hang out with Tim Ruddy. And it wasn't all of us, because on Fridays, see, you would have all the TV stations and all the fringe people that would cover it. They would come Wednesdays and Thursdays. Fridays would be the hardest hardcore people, which would be 4, 6, 7, and 10. Me, representing QAM, and the 3 beat writers. Nobody else was in there. None of the cable outlets, none of the whammy or anything else that was fringing, and the second beat writers, the columnists, none of those people came on Fridays. Okay? It was a very small crew. It was the crew that was going to be there every day for every event, for every press conference, those of us. I was one of those people because I did it for 8 straight years, where I covered every single element that the Dolphins and the Heat were involved in. Those were my 2 beats. So, whoa, damn it. I think I just ruined my keyboard. Okay. Don't spill water on your keyboard. It's never a good thing. So we get there, and it's one of those deals where, let me make sure I'm not messing with this. So that we have that whole thing where Ruddy is talking, right? And Ruddy is hilarious. He's cracking jokes and making fun of people. And, he was awesome. Like, he was one of my favorite dudes to talk to, and super smart, obviously Notre Dame guy, all that. He's the guy that would like give financial advice to the guys in the locker room. They would come to him about investments and all that, because Ruddy's super, super smart guy. But he had a great personality that nobody ever found out about. And the only people that would know would be us on Fridays, because everybody put their cameras down. The writers would put away their pads. The radio guy, because I was the only one there, would, turn off the recorder and all that. And we would just BS with him. And he was just absolutely, except for those of you that ever remember Tim Ruddy sound bites, monotone and boring. And it was all done on purpose. I'm sure anybody that knows Tim Ruddy now says, yeah, no, that's not Tim Ruddy. That's not the guy I know, because I was hanging out with him at a party and he was pretty funny. And he is. He's got a great sense of humor. That team, the David Bowens of the world, the what's his name? A safety, Corey Jenkins, I think was his name. He was a trip. I mean, there's a lot of, during that era, there were a lot of really good people and players. Derek Rogers. I know Derek Rogers did not develop into a great linebacker, but Derek Rogers was a phenomenal human being. Morlon Greenwood was, one of the nicest dudes out there. There was just a lot of good people, man. Rob Conrad was fantastic. Good people. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. That was and there were some rough times, because obviously the seasons didn't end well. Then when we got into the Wanstead era, it went ugly. Obviously, it started off pretty well, but then obviously It was fading. It was fading fast, and they had to make, the changes. But yeah, there was a lot of things to like from those errors and people. Edwin says Zach Thomas should have been in the Hall of Fame already before Brian Urlacher. I have no problem with putting Zach in the Hall of Fame. I hope he gets there. He got close this past year, so hopefully he'll get in. Radically says Richmond Webb was a great offensive tackle. I bet he could help the Dolphins' offensive tackles today. He should be hired as a consultant minimum. Radically, that we have this tendency, okay, and you just showed it right now. We have this tendency to think that ex-players want to be this. And most of these guys, they don't want anything to do with football anymore. They want to move on. They're done with it. And they don't want to put in the hours it takes, especially to be a coach. Because to be a coach, man, it takes a lot of hours. And so most of these guys don't want to do it. I doubt it very much. If you know Richmond Webb and his personality, I don't think his personality fits coaching at all. I don't. I think maybe coaching kids, he might be good, but I don't think he would want to deal with adults, and I don't think he would want to deal with today's young adults. These Generation Zs that are there now, I don't know. It's not a situation I think would work out for him. Big O, have you ever met and spoken to John Offerdahl? Yes, I know John Offerdahl very well, my man. Very well. Good dude. Had him on my show 50 times over the years. John Offerdahl. I love John Offerdahl. It's my favorite. That's my favorite Dolphin linebacker of all time, dude, is John Offerdahl. I try not to say that around Zach because I love Zach too, but John Offerdahl, man, is my guy. I love that guy. I hated that he had the injuries, on the back end of his career because he probably should have had a longer career. And talk about Hall of Fame talent. If John Offerdahl would have had a full career, Hall of Fame, dude. That guy was a badass, man. I remember Andre Franklin being a beast pre-Marino, but fell off when they drafted Dan. Did he get injured? No, I just think it was one of those where he had a small window of success, and that's who he was. That happens a lot where guys, an Alandis Gary, a Gary Anderson, they got on a little roll for a year or two and then disappeared after that. That happens a lot in football. There are guys that have a good year or two, maybe even 3, and then disappear. Peerless Price had a couple of good years in Buffalo because he was opposite of Eric Moulds. Then they gave him a new contract in Atlanta, and he couldn't live up to the contract because he wasn't really a legit number 1. He was a guy that could play off of the number 1 and be the number 2 guy, but he couldn't really necessarily be a number 1 guy and got exposed in that sense. So, things like that happen all throughout the league over the decades, that there are guys that, the Derek Anderson will have a great year, then get a contract and never play like that again. So Andre Franklin was one of those guys that had a couple of productive years, but really wasn't good enough to have a long-term career with this, because if not, he would have ended up somewhere else, kicking ass somewhere else, and he didn't, because it's just, he had short amount of success. They figured him out quickly, and he wasn't able to sustain it year in and year out. That's when you're special, when you can sustain it year in and year out. Is Big O done talking about crypto? I stepped away for 45 minutes. Wait, let me get back to crypto now that he's back. Let me tell you about Matic, okay? If you're going to stay... Anyway. Big O speaking truth today. Why do I lie every other day? The hell is this going on? Early in the program, you're telling me, all right, tell me the truth. Do you think Tua can stay healthy for a season? What am I going to do, lie to you? What's going on with this? Tell me the truth now. Don't lie. Don't be fibbing. Don't be misleading. So if the Dolphins pull off the upset Thursday, the next 4 games are very winnable. Jets twice, Panthers, and Giants. Ian North, let me ask you something, dude. Did you throw out the seeds and stems when you were rolling that fatty? Is that alcohol too high of alcohol content? That whiskey that you're drinking, that moonshine that you're having. Hermes says, O.J. McDuffie were my favorites the years of Taylor Thomas. No, O.J. well, too. O.J.'s a great dude also. Love O.J. Fearless, man. Fearless. You know, O.J. got in a fight with David Griggs. You remember David Griggs? They both got in a fight at Penn State. He broke his jaw. Griggs broke O.J.'s jaw. And Griggs is probably twice the size of O.J. So one day we're at practice. I've told this story before. I've told it a couple times, maybe like 3 times over the last 30 years. We're at practice, and Daryl Gardner's taking some plays off during practice. So OJ is yelling from the sidelines, calling him out. And, you know, OJ was one of those intense dudes that, like, he took it serious. Like, he wasn't effing around ever. Every time he took the field, practice, game, whatever, that guy was playing to win. Didn't matter. So, but anybody that knew Daryl Gardner, we all knew that Daryl was super talented. Daryl could disrupt the hell out of any offensive line he wanted to in the universe. That's the kind of freakish talent that Daryl Gardner was. But Daryl Gardner chose not to do it on a consistent basis. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so Daryl obviously was kind of coasting on a couple of those plays, and OJ kept jamming at him. And so then Daryl all of a sudden got pissed and started challenging OJ, you know, and calling him names and say, you know, get your ass over, you know, I'll bust you up, whatever, all this and that. And then OJ went off. And OJ went to charge at Daryl Gardner. Now, mind you, those of you that are young, I don't know if there are pictures of Daryl Gardner. Can you find, let's see if we can find one here of Daryl Gardner. I don't know if they still exist. Let me see if they are. But for those of you that don't know, while he was a defensive tackle, he was built like a defensive end. Okay? Like, he was built svelte. Here we go. In fact, there's a Daryl Gardner picture I got right here. Wait a minute. Why did it do that? Damn it. That was a good pick too, man. What the hell happened here? Okay, wait a minute. Now, let me see if I can pull this one out here. Okay. Now let's see if I can figure out how to bring this picture up. Okay. This is brutal. All right, I'm trying to figure this out. I need a guy like Sean to help me out with this right now, because I can't. I'm trying to put this picture up of Daryl Gardner so you guys can see it, because you know, you youngins, you're not really going to know anything about Daryl Gardner, and Daryl was like, he wasn't twice the size of OJ. He might have been 3 times the size of OJ. And I'm not kidding you. I mean, this was a large man, and not just a large man, but he became a bodybuilder after. Okay. Now, he had a back issue, and that was the one thing, that was the demise of him in football. He developed a back issue. You know, he was only here for a few years, and then he got the back issue. They traded him to Denver. he was able to last for a couple of years, but then eventually he broke down. But then he still became a bodybuilder. And I got to tell you, man, that dude was impressive. I mean, you know, like when you saw Daryl Gardner, you weren't sure, like, how could that guy be a defensive tackle with that kind of body? That's kind of the way it looked. Oh, here we go. Now I got it. Oh, very nice. You got the that was the bodybuilder. But let me show them. Take that one off. Let me show them him as a player, because obviously as a bodybuilder, you're going to have a different kind of body. But look at him as a player. This is a defensive tackle. Okay? All right, yes, and we used to call him a Klingon because, you look at his head there. Daryl, if you're watching, I'm sorry, I love you. You're a good dude. But he had kind of a Klingon type head back in the day, as you can tell. That's a defensive end. I mean, it's sick. It really is. And then let me see if do we have a Klingon picture of Daryl Gardner? Let me show you a Klingon picture of Daryl Gardner. If you're a Trekkie, you will pick up on this. If you're not a Trekkie, you will not pick up on this. You see? No, that one doesn't fly. Okay, so now I have now figured out how to do this thing the right way. Yep, there it is. All right. Check it out. Okay, now I know when they give me this thing the way they did, I know how to change it and bring it up. I'm learning my skill sets here. So there you go. You see? Klingon. Yeah, he was like a human Shar-Pei at times. So, OJ goes after Daryl Gardner. It takes 3 Dolphins to grab OJ, okay, restrain him, because they had to restrain him. Like, he was going to go after Daryl. They were going to fight. And Daryl was ready to fight him, right? And Jimmy's trying to break this up and stop it, this and that, and all that crap. And 3 guys have to grab OJ, hold him down, lift him up in the air as he's kicking and all that. And they had to carry him off the field and into the building. And they had to lock him up and hold him there. They had to call security. They had to keep him there. They had to check. I mean, just when OJ loses it, you're going to have to fight with him. Okay? Because that guy, there is no backing down from OJ McDuffie. Like, zero. Sean, I think you may want to send Manny an invite for the segment. I think he may not have it. I'm not sure. But we'll get Manny Navarro now at the bottom of the hour here, and we'll talk a little Miami Hurricanes. So, yes, that's one of those stories from back in the day. Let's see. What else do we have? OJ McDuffie, pretty good wide receiver. No, he was a great wide receiver. He was a great wide receiver. He was just, unfortunately, he ended up with a shorter career because of that damn toe injury. Let's see. Haven't rolled the J in 20 years. Miss it. Wife said, me or weed? Oh, God. She got to go with weed. Let's see. What else do we have here? Scary looking dude Gardner was. Oh, he was, man, when Daryl wanted to play, Daryl was, I mean, a monster, dude. Like, I'm sure that on YouTube there's got to be some highlights. He was disruptive. He may have been the most disruptive defensive end I have seen here in the last 30 years. I mean, I'm sorry, defensive tackle I've seen here in the last 30 years. Not the best, because Tim Bowens was better because he was super consistent. But when you had Tim Bowens and Daryl Gardner in the middle, oh my Lord, when Daryl came to play, see, Tim Bowens always came to play. But when Daryl Gardner came to play, and then you paired him with Tim Bowens, and then there was Jason Taylor, and then on the other side it was Trace Armstrong, or maybe Lorenzo Bromell, or Kenny Mixon, or Adewale Agunliye. I tell you, man, that was a fun time for that defensive line. Because all those other ends benefited from Jason. And those two defensive tackles, oh my God. And then you had Zach running sideline to sideline, cleaning everything up. That was fun to watch, man. That was fun to watch. It's just one of those moments that you just it's the same thing as Marino back in the day. When you watch Marino, you just wish you had that defense and running game to complete it. When you watch that defense, you just like, man, couldn't they have the offense to help them out? Couldn't they do that, please? Because we all know if you gave Marino the running back in the defense, there at least would be a title. And we all know if you gave Jason Taylor and Zach and Sam and Pat and Tim, you gave them an offense, there would be a title. You know? Sucks so bad. Tell you. So, Ray says OJ netted him $8 million in his lawsuit against the Dolphins. Doctor, recall, yes, Ray, but remember, $8 million, right? Let's break that down. $8 million, 33% goes to the lawyer, and then you've got to pay capital gains taxes also on what's left on that. I get it, but it's not as much as you think it is. Okay. And it's nice money. It's money that I wish you and I had, right? I mean, I get it, but it's not really 8. We make it sound like it's 8, but it's not really 8. When it's all said and done, he probably ended up with like 3 out of the 8, when everything is paid off and everything, so it's still 3 more than I'll ever have, but all right, let's talk a little Canes. Hey, it's fun to talk Canes right now. They're actually winning. They've won 3 in a row. Manny Navarro, that's right, from The Athletic, joins us next.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All righty, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Manny Navarro. Follow him on Twitter for those of you watching or listening on the podcast at Manny_Navarro. More importantly, subscribe to The Athletic. So we're getting the steering wheel view now. Is that what we're getting here?
Oh, I'd be in my house normally, but it's so bad. I'm doing construction, new flooring, new walls being put up. We're tearing some of the old ones down, and so there's a jackhammer going. So everything is in the car today, man, so that you don't hear all that stuff.
Okay, all right. Well, I love that you're accommodating us. I appreciate that. Let's get, before we get to the games and all that other stuff, let's get to an issue that has arisen now with Manny and the athletic director. And I got to tell you something. I find it humorous that Manny Diaz is pissed off. Like, okay, wait a minute, dude. You've done a shitty job for over 2.5 years. So all of a sudden now you've won 3 games, barely won some of them. It's not like you're beating, the upper echelon of the of college football or anything. And you are a little disappointed that the AD didn't have your back when you don't realize that while you're crappy coaching for 2+ years, was actually also getting him fired in the process. Do you expect him to give you a, glorified passing grade on a very poor job? So I kind of find it funny that is very Generation Z and very millennial of him to react this way. Put it that way.
Survival of the fittest, right? I mean, ultimately, he could always turn around and blame Blake for the bad recruiting class if he needs to, right? Or he's partially responsible for it. Hey, my athletic director kind of did me in by saying I may not finish the season. So, look, he was just asking the question, or answering the question. He was asked specifically about Blake and whether or not it hurt him. But, look, man, like in the end, he's going to be judged by how this season ends and where they are and whether or not there's real progress shown. And so I think there's a chance that Manny could keep his job. And I think there's a chance Blake could keep his job. But I think both of them need a good finish from Manny Diaz. They're dependent on that.
Yeah. And by the way, I think both of them come back no matter what, to be honest with you. I don't believe they're eating any salary. Somebody told me that there are people talking about that they're going to bring in Mario. They're going to buy him out and they're going to build a stadium in Bird Road. I'm like, oh, please, dude, stop with this BS already. I don't believe this program is really – when they start spending, then I'll believe it. And I know you wrote about it, but I have to see it first to believe it, to be honest with you. I think they're coming back. Yeah. But still, having said all of that, I just kind of find it funny because instead of taking ownership for what's really gone on under his watch, and let's not make it sound, look, I'm glad that they won, don't get me wrong, but this week, you did everything in your power to give that damn game away too in the process, right? I mean, it's not like it's not like the performance. Hell, I was in Atlanta on Saturday. Okay, I was in Atlanta for the Metallica, Greta Van Fleet, and Cage the Elephant concert. Prior to going into the concert, I'm in my car and I'm cruising on the radio. So I run into the Georgia Tech broadcast. And so they're talking like when they were disappointed that they thought it was a winnable game. Once they came back and made it a game, they thought they had a chance. And then they started talking about several things that have plagued them all season long and happen again in the game, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I don't give a rat's ass about the Yellow Jackets, but it's funny because you listen to the other side and they felt like they were right there and they had an opportunity. So I don't know I don't know what pedestal he thinks he's standing on at this moment, but it's nice that he's won, but I don't think he realizes that his winning isn't that impressive right now.
No, they don't pay him to play in ACC games decided on the last possession. They pay him to win the ACC and to dominate the ACC and to have Miami play like old Miami. And that is ultimately what he's going to be judged on in my mind, and what all Miami coaches should be judged on. It's ridiculous that they've been to one ACC championship game in 17 years. It's ridiculous. They've had the top recruiting class, I want to say, out of those 17 years, probably 15 or 16 years in that division. So there's no excuse for them. Player development hasn't been there. They've produced more NFL guys than anybody else in that division, but yet where are the results? Yes, they had Nevin Shapiro. Yes, there were off-the-field issues. Yes, they didn't do a great job recruiting quarterbacks. But how do you explain going to one ACC championship game in 17 years? And ultimately, all Miami fans want is to be what they were expected to be when they came to the ACC, which is the best team in that division who plays Florida State every single year in the ACC championship game. That's what everybody thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been the case at all.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So is the relationship strained now between the two?
Well, Manny's only referred to it on a professional level. So I think certainly on a personal level, I'm sure it's strained. On a professional level, he says that they, still work well together and there's a respect there. But, he could have answered that question differently, right? He could have said,
I just find
So
it funny that he's so butthurt when you've done a terrible job, dude. Up until these last 3 weeks, that yeah, they're nice. I'm glad that you won. I'd rather you win than lose. That's for sure. I'm not certainly rooting for you to lose just because I don't think you're a good coach. That doesn't make any sense for me. I want you to win, but it's not like, I just kind of find it funny because he has no reason for entitlement, yet he's trying to use it, is my point. And it's funny because that's kind of been the problem with players for the last 15 years, is that they come in with a sense of entitlement when they haven't earned the damn thing.
Right. I think he realizes the pickles he's in, and I think he realizes that he doesn't have a lot of fans. He doesn't really have a lot of support. A lot of people who have his back who think he's the answer. So I think there's just a lot of frustration on his part. And, the one guy that I guess he thought would have his back, you learn in this business quickly that it's self-preservation, right? And Blake James is going to do what he needs to do to try to survive. And it's a cutthroat business, man. It's just the way it is. Look, in the long run, man, he still has a chance to keep his job. And I think it's a good chance. But he's got to win Saturday. He's got to keep that dominance over FSU going. This isn't a good FSU team. They're 3-6. They don't have an elite quarterback. Yes, they've got an improved defense, but this is a very winnable game. Virginia Tech is very, very winnable. And I think the last game against Duke should be a cakewalk. So to me, if he finishes 8-4 and they somehow sneak into the ACC championship game, I mean, he can show improvement because Miami's never won the ACC championship, and I think it's a very winnable year. I mean, if you're not going to face Clemson on the other side of the bracket, you should have enough talent to beat NC State, and you should have enough talent to beat Wake Forest.
The 1 year the ACC is so crappy that they're not even going to be involved in the national championship picture, which I believe it's the first time ever, right? Since the BCS started doing this crap, the 4-team playoff. Right, the ACC's been involved every
year. Every year. In fact, last year, obviously, they got 2 teams because technically Notre Dame was an ACC team. So, yeah, I mean, I thought for sure that, this was going to be a year where Clemson and North Carolina were going to be right there, that Miami would have a chance to be right there with them, and it's completely been wide open. So, we'll see what happens, man, but they've still got a good chance. I mean, NC State and Pitt look like the 2 best teams, but they've already beaten both of them. So,
all right. By the way, Tyler continues to absolutely ball out, dude. I mean, he's playing so well. I think Jake Garcia is looking for a new home right now as we speak. I'm not sure. I don't know if Jake Garcia wants to come back next year now. Not that I'm hoping that I hope he stays, because I'd rather them keep all their quarterbacks, but if I'm Jake Garcia, I'm going, yeah, I think I'm not going to be doing anything here for a couple of years.
Well, I mean, if Tyler Van Dyke is playing at this level where he's, having 3-game stretches where he throws for, 1,000, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 1 interception, he's going to be in the NFL after next year if he keeps playing at this level. And by the way,
and wins the ACC if he wins the ACC this year too. How about that?
Right, absolutely. So I think, the one thing I'll say about Jake, and I haven't spoken to him, but studying body language, the kid is very engaged with his teammates. Like, if you go to the games, the home games, when all the injured guys are sitting on the bench, De'Eric, Bubba Bolden, Corey Gaynor, all the guys who had season-ending surgery, they're all sitting on the bench pregame, right? Just chilling. They're wearing their jerseys. Jake Garcia has a boot on, and he's in the middle of the huddle with the offensive guys. And this is pregame warmups. To me, that's a guy who's very invested in whatever the hell's going on with this team versus somebody who's completely disconnected. I mean, the running back who transferred to Florida, the 5-star kid that Miami had here a couple years ago that never got on the field, Lorenzo Lingard. At the FIU game, the kid wasn't paying any attention to his teammates. He was complete. So you saw behavior to me that was like, okay, this guy's disconnected. He's ready to bolt. I don't see that with Jake Garcia right now. So I think there's hope for Miami that he sticks. Now, will that happen? I don't know. We'll see what happens in the offseason. We'll see who reaches out to him and who promises him what. But I think him looking at the situation and knowing how much he cares about his teammates and how much he likes being in Miami, I think there's a chance that he'll stay through next year. And then now if Tyler has to come back in 23 and he's not going pro early, then I think for sure he's gone. But I think if Tyler finishes this season strong and goes into next year and tears it up and goes to the NFL, then Jake Garcia might stick around to be the guy.
Although I will say this, if you're a quarterback, I don't think you can have that kind of an attitude of running backs and other positions are not as important. If you're a quarterback, you kind of want to be in tune and find out what's going on, because that kind of still is semi preparing you in a way with everything going on with the game and everything. So I think
maybe
because the responsibilities of a quarterback are so much more important than everybody else. So I'm just wondering, because I remember even at the Senior Bowl.
It's a very good point, though. Yeah.
I remember at the Senior Bowl, there was a quarterback that was injured, and he was still there. He got injured. He got surgery. He got invited to the Senior Bowl. He showed up anyways and was there all week, just kind of on the sidelines with the helmet on and everything, just listening and all that, and kind of participating with the rest of the quarterbacks. And then he went and did all the meetings and all that with all the NFL teams. I'm trying to remember. I don't know why I want to say maybe it might have been Mason Rudolph, that he might have had an injury and was there injured at the Senior Bowl. I don't know why I want to say Mason. Maybe not. Maybe it was somebody else. But even in that case, I saw it. So maybe with the quarterback, it might be a little different, because they have that responsibility that they have to show that they're really engaged and be leaders. Even when they're backups, they've got to be leaders. You know? You agree?
That could very well be the case. But I think I agree. I just think it's encouraging, at least, that this kid is engaged versus being disengaged and not caring. And to me, knowing his dad and talking to his dad before they came here, before they moved here, the family from California and Georgia, they came to Miami not just for Rhett Lashley and not for Manny. Like, they came to Miami for Miami. And when you come for those reasons, I think there's a chance the kid might stick. But again, you're right. It's a quarterback position, high demand. We'll see who offers him what to go where, and whether or not he bites. But regardless, I think excuse me.
Yeah, drink some, baby. Drink some.
Too much dust in my house.
Regardless, as long as it's not in your nose. As long as it's not in your nose. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I think regardless, they're in a great spot, man, because the Ja'Cory Brown kid that they got lined up to come in with this class in 22 is a very good, highly touted recruit. So I think they'll be all right at the quarterback position.
All right, good. And that is very good to hear. When we talk about recruiting, is there any news on the recruiting front right now? Because going off of the initial conversation, how has that turned up? Because it seems like it's a little dry right now, like your throat.
No commitment since August 11. Oh, no commitment since August 11 for Miami, and Manny Diaz is talking a lot about the transfer portal. Yes, they're talking to junior college kids. Yes, they're talking to high school kids, trying to sway them here. But again, I think, the dreams of landing the elite 4-star and 5-star kids locally, the defensive linemen, the top 100 recruits, the 4 of them that are top 100 linemen, I don't think that's happening. So they might get Wesley Basainth. He might be one of the next commitments. He's a linebacker out of Miami Central, the 4-star kid, who they've been on for a long time. He's supposed to announce a commitment now sometime this month. So I think that could potentially be the next big one that they land. But other than that, we're in wait and see mode. And I think Manny Diaz has said over and over again, this isn't going to be a very, very big class. They're waiting to see, who enters the transfer portal in terms of their own guys, and then, see what positions they need to address.
By the way, did you hear the same crap that people are trying to spew out there about trying to buy Mario Cristobal and all that? Have you heard that crap too?
Yeah. I mean, I think people have been talking about that, but Mario's buyout goes down to $6 million. I think I forgot the date. I wrote it down. It's sometime in January.
Right.
So I think he's without a doubt the top choice. If they are going to make a coaching change, and according to the people I spoke to at Miami, they'd be willing to spend the money to upgrade if they need to do it. So
So
we'll
they're not
see if that's
butthurt
true.
anymore.
But
So they're not butthurt with
no. I think what's happened is they've seen what's happened with him, how he's such a great recruiter and how he's winning at Oregon and how he learned a lot from his buddy Nick Saban. And they're like, hey, you know what? Mario, you won 2 national championships. Come on home, baby. Come on home. We'll take you.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you something. I would gain some serious respect for them if they actually went out there and spent that kind of money. Okay, so what's your gut tell you, dude? You're around the program. You get to talk to people. Okay, talk is cheap. Are they going to stop being cheap? So tell me, what's your gut tell you?
My gut tells me that if they fire Manny, which I still don't think they've made their minds up about, okay? I do really think they're still going to give him a chance, okay? I know there's a lot of people like, oh, he's fired 100%. No, not at all. I think they don't want to have to fire him. But if they have to fire him because he doesn't cut it and they don't show any improvement, I think that they might be able to get a deal done with Mario and bring him home. My gut tells me that's the home run swing, and I don't think it's that hard to hit. I don't see that as impossible. I don't see that as never happening. Before I would have told you, I think there's no chance of that happening because they never spend money. They're not going to pay the buyout. They're not going to do this. Right. Me personally, I think they've been shit on enough nationally and here in their own backyard where they care about their brand and they know that they have to make a splash. So to me, I believe that they want to make a splash. Am I 100% certain they're going to do that? No, because I know Miami and I've covered this team long enough to know the situation there. But do I think it could happen? Yes. Would I be stunned if it happened? No, I wouldn't be stunned. I think I would say, you know what? I saw this coming. They came out, they delivered the message. They said they were going to do this. You know what? They delivered. I'd be slightly surprised, but not mega surprised because I think that they mean business. I think they care. I think that there's been enough of this for so long that they know they can't just, all right, let's just hire the defensive coordinator, or hey, let's just get this young and up and coming coach we think is okay. I think they feel like it has to be a serious hire.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic and catch him here twice a week with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Manny, you are a stud, my brother. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for dropping the knowledge.
No problem, brother. Good talking to you.
You got it. There you go. Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right. Welcome back. By the way, it has been the last couple of weeks for the Las Vegas Raiders. So they've got a head coach that all kinds of emails surface of him spewing hate about all kinds of people. The kind of hate that obviously is not tolerated and is obviously disgusting on every level. So they had to get rid of him, and they did the right thing. And then you've got the Henry Ruggs situation where that animal with clothes on decides to go 150 miles an hour in his sports car in a residential area and kills a woman who he slams into at 127 miles an hour, and that woman and her dog and that car explode, and she dies, and the dog dies in a ball of fire. And for those of you that did not hear my initial segment about this, I have no sympathy for Henry Ruggs. I hope he rots in jail for the rest of his life. He committed a disgusting crime, not a mistake, a crime. He's a criminal. He's a murderer, is what he is. So I have zero sympathy. Now, I do have sympathy for the Raiders fan because it's not their fault that Gruden is a hateful idiot. It's not their fault that Henry Ruggs is an animal, is a stupid idiot, just a pathetic. I don't even want to call him a human being. Okay? What Henry Ruggs did, he destroyed a family for no reason at all. You're drunk, dumbass, get an Uber. You and your little girlfriend, go get an Uber. You're super rich, dude. Have your car towed. You would have saved a woman and her dog. You fried a woman, man. So now the Raiders had to waive second-year cornerback Damon Arnett, a first-round pick from 2020, after a video surfaced this weekend of Arnett making death threats while brandishing firearms. And if you saw it, it's just, I don't even want to play the video. But he's been on injured reserve since October 9th. Now he's facing lawsuits stemming from a Vegas car accident last October. Very painful decision, says Mike Mayock in a conference call. We spent significant time, effort, and resources trying to help him in all aspects of his life. There have been a series of bad decisions over the last year or so, but we cannot stand for the video of Damon with a gun threatening to take a life. The content was unacceptable, contrary to our values, and our owner, Mark Davis, has been very clear and very consistent that this is not how we will conduct ourselves in this community. The bottom line, the Raiders will not tolerate this type of behavior. Mayock then added that he talked with Arnett, his father, and others in his life. From my perspective, he's a very talented young man with a good heart. He cleans up his life. I know he can make a living in the NFL, but not now, not with the Raiders. A surprise selection, number 19 out of Ohio State. He played in just 13 games with 7 starts. And since the start of last season, had 3 total pass defended and 29 tackles and 23 solos. So they had character issues with him coming out of college. They still, listen, I never took John Gruden seriously. To me, John Gruden is a clown. You know, he got on a little roll there in Tampa, and he had the perfect defense that was handed to him, and he was able to finish off the offense, and he was able to win that title. But then that team progressively got worse every year, and he was part of the reason why he destroyed that team. You know what I mean? So I didn't expect him ever to really be successful. In fact, this season, he was being more successful than I thought he would be. But this is the kind of stuff that I kind of expected out of a John Gruden team, that he's taking chances on idiots, and these idiots are going to make you look bad. I mean, this Arnett kid, what are you doing, bro? What are you thinking? What made you think that you were going to get away with this? Where did you think this was a good idea? Do you know that you're also like breaking a law by threatening someone's life? Some of these guys, man, they're just stupid. You know, people like this are just stupid. They don't have any intelligence. They're just ignorant. And then they think they're Nico Toscani because they're above the law when they're really not. And then they've got to learn the hard way. Where did you think you were going to get away with that? But wow, what a month for the Raiders. And again, they were surprising me by the start of their season. So think about how they started and think about now where it's going. Wow. Although I was thinking that OBJ should be signed by the Raiders because he kind of fits the Raiders. Oh, God. That's crazy. All right. If you want to get in, 855-912-1056 is the text line. That's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the program, you can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Don't forget to smash the like button. Remember, smashing that like button is incredibly important, man. It gets the algorithms going. It's really, really important. That helps us out immensely. So please do that. At his retirement, Marino called OJ the toughest wide receiver he ever played with. Yep, I was there. I remember that. Willie says, funny, Big O, we are actually animals with clothes on. Yeah, but Ruggs never developed into a human being. He stayed as an animal. Because only an animal gets behind the wheel and ends up killing a woman. Or killing anybody. Like, folks, please. Hey, man, you want to get wasted and have a couple drinks? Do it. Go ahead. Just call an Uber, man. So easy to pick up the phone. You don't even have to pick up the phone. Just put it in the app. Boom, here you go. It's got a GPS and everything. It knows where you're at. The car will come right to you. You get in the car, you go home, and that's it. Please. Do we need to go through this? Like this idiot Henry Ruggs, I don't know if he has a conscience, but if he has one, he's going to have to live with this for the rest of his life. That he ended a young woman's life for no reason at all. That video pisses me off because they're both on the ground there next to the car. And, you know, he's obviously dazed or whatever going on from what happened. And he's drunk. And his girlfriend's screaming, oh, somebody help him. Somebody help him. Meanwhile, there's a woman and her dog on fire 100 yards away. And I'm saying, well, who's helping them now? Because I don't really give a shit about you. I don't care about either one of you two idiots. I care about the woman that's on fire because she's the innocent victim. And let me tell you something. This is what I hate about DUI accidents. It pisses me off that 99.9% of the time, the idiot that is drunk walks away. And the innocent people always die in these accidents. It could be a guy drunk off his ass. He sideswipes a van. There's 8 people in the van. All of them die. His car turns over 67 times, and he walks out of the car. Meanwhile, there's 8 corpses inside the van. I mean, it happens all the time. I can't tell. I can't explain it. I don't know what the cruel joke is behind it, by the way, because it might be the cruelest joke I've ever seen in my life, because it happens all the time. And every time I ask myself, why aren't they dead and those people are alive? Every single time. And that goes with Henry Ruggs. Why didn't his ass go right through the windshield and flip 87 times and split in half by a stop sign? Meanwhile, the woman and the dog get to go home. Why couldn't that happen? That's what I'd like to know. Because it is the most twisted thing in auto accident history, the stinking drunken driver always lives. Everyone else dies except that person. God, it's just the worst, dude. Part of it is because the drunk body is more relaxed because of the alcohol. Uber, whatever it is, man, it's the worst karma ever. So the person that got drunk, the person that's irresponsible, the person that got behind the wheel, the person that didn't care about anyone else's life and put everyone else at risk is the one that survives. And everyone else that he put at risk or she put at risk dies. Jumps over the median, runs head on into a car. The other people die in the car. The drunk driver head on lives. How? I have no idea. Craziest thing, man. Yeah, I think people forget playing in the NFL is a privilege and they don't deserve to be in the league just because of talent. Vic is a perfect example of a guy that should have been banned. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I will give Michael Vick this credit. I think he was actually thoroughly remorseful about what he did. I do believe that. And he served his time in jail. He lost a lot of money. And he did his best to turn his life around. I'll give him that. But having said all of that, as a man that owns dogs, I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive Michael Vick. I can't forgive Michael Vick. It's not in me to forgive people like that. I've already told you this about me. Sorry doesn't cover everything. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm not that person that can forgive you for anything. You know, I've seen those people that someone kills their family member or whatever, and oh, we forgive you. No. Sorry. They're just things you don't come back from. Sorry doesn't cover it, and that's definitely one of them. You know what I mean? So it just, I got to tell you, it just leaves me floored to think that this crap goes on, and it happens all the time, dude. All right. They'll have to pay for it eventually, if not in this life, the afterlife. I don't know. All I know is right now that the family of that woman, how do those people recover from that, man? You never recover from that. You just sit there and go, she was minding her own business. She was going home. She wasn't bothering anybody. She was just driving down the street with her dog, and some animal at 127 miles an hour rams into her, and the car explodes. Big O, I wouldn't want you as my judge for DUI. No, you would not. No, you would not. No. No. Brother, I'm 55. I've lived twice the life that Henry Ruggs has lived. I have no need. And at his age, I knew not to get behind the wheel drunk off my ass at 150 miles an hour. You know, you just, come on, man. I get it if you're 18 and you got behind the wheel, or 16 or 19 and, you know, a little drunk, a little tipsy. It can happen. You know what? Listen, a DUI can happen to anybody. Really, let's be honest now. One DUI can happen to anybody. We all make mistakes. We have a little too much. We think we're straight, but we might be a little tipsy. And maybe you're not really too drunk, but legally you are. And, you know, it's a human error that we all are entitled. But the problem is, you walk that fine line. Once it becomes a crime, once you kill somebody, it goes away from an error. It becomes a crime. It becomes a level of irresponsibility that you cannot, you know, you can't answer to. You can't defend. And that's the problem. It's sad, man. It's sad, but you know how many families have been torn apart by drunk drivers? I mean, this guy, that's the other thing. Why weren't you doing 150 out on the highway at least all by yourself somewhere? So if you wiped out, you rolled into the desert, whatever, and that's it, you and your girlfriend, whatever happens to you guys, fine. But did you have, they were in a residential area in Las Vegas. You're doing 150 miles an hour in a residential area. Big old hardliners that go hard have their dirt under their rug or closet usually. Well, I mean, that's just the way it goes, my brother. What can I tell you? He was set for life. Now he's facing 46 years. That ain't enough. That's true. He actually deserves the death penalty. That's kind of what he really deserves. But they're not going to give you the death penalty for that. But he deserves to rot in jail at least. Eddie Lepp says, my dad was killed by a drunk driver when I was 16. Please don't think you can handle it. Call a cab, Uber. You just don't put your life at risk. I'm so sorry, Eddie. You see what I'm saying? Right there. There's Eddie. Right there. Perfect example. He's 16 years old. He loses his dad to a drunk driver. Alex says, oh, my buddy had a scholarship to UM for basketball, and he was really good. Came from a party, wrecked his car in 95. He ended up killing someone, also hurt himself bad to where his career is over. And he killed somebody? That's disgusting. All guys, LOL, are such hypocrites. Well, Willie, maybe you're a hypocrite, but I'm not. I'm not doing 150 miles an hour drunk, my brother. That's not my thing. So, that's fine. And you can look at my records. It's not there. I wonder if your son or daughter, what would be the tone would be. People should be careful how we say things. My daughter knows. See, that's it. My daughter was brought up old school. Old school. My daughter didn't miss a day of school all the way through college. Got that? Kindergarten through college. My daughter's got a brown belt. My daughter knows that I will not be happy with that. She knows. I'd be very pissed. She knows. I'm old school, dude. She was raised old school. I don't play that soft ass stuff that parents do nowadays with their kids. She knows it. I'm brutally honest with her. You see how I am with like here? I'm the same guy in person. I don't think some of you don't really know me. You think that this is like, show. No, I'm like this with everybody. Even my daughter. Yeah, she knows I would have no tolerance for any of that. She knows it. So I would not be happy about that, my friend. I'd be very critical of it, even if it's my daughter. Okay? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, when my daughter was like, I don't, maybe I don't feel like, no, you're getting your ass to school. Let's go. You're not sick. Get your ass to school. And it got to a point where she was already motivated on her own because she didn't want to, mess it up. So I disagree with you. Look, man, we're all different. We all raise our kids differently. We all handle things differently. But one thing I said when we had our daughter is that I wasn't going to handle her with kid gloves. I was going to tell her what you got to do and, how you got to treat people and how you got to handle things. And so hopefully she will do all the right things. Obviously, I have no control. She's an adult now. And if she makes that kind of a mistake, well, then she's going to pay the price. And if I make that mistake, then I should pay the price. And if you make that mistake, then you should pay the price. It's about accountability. That's what's lost in our world is accountability. And we don't hold others accountable. We don't hold ourselves accountable. That's the problem. Like Cidola was joking around, going, well, maybe it's us that's, venting and giving you the sleep apnea. And right away I said, no, it's just my stupid ass that I'm the one that ate too much and got too big again. And I put myself in this position. I don't blame anybody. I'm going to look in the mirror, and I'm the problem. I'm the reason why I gained the weight and why I got sleep apnea, or may have it. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to get tested for it. But who knows? I think I may have it. Big O, you guys, humans general are so underhanded and hypocrites. Yep, exactly. Ken Rosa says Big O had that chancleta discipline with his daughter. Hells yeah. No hitting, but the in today's is you take the computer away, you take the phone away, and you cripple kids. That's how you do it. No phone, no television, no computer. Oh man, your kids will be crying like when they used to beat us with belts. And say what you're saying if it's your son or daughter who gets killed by a drunk driver. Exactly. It's the same thing. Same thing. If Henry Ruggs was your son, I want to see the tone, then stop being underhanded. Yeah, well, I already told you, Willie. You can keep sending whatever text you want in, bro. I don't give a shit. Don't matter to me. If I'm not allowed to have a couple of beers while grilling or watching a game at home because some psycho wants to drive 150 miles an hour while drunk, I don't deserve to be punished. Again, Big O, why is Flores hard to get along with? I don't know. You better ask Stills and ask Minka and ask Chang Gailey and ask his 8 different offensive coordinators, his 7 different offensive linemen. Big O, Camflo saying Tua looked good today, but I wouldn't start him still. Can we send this guy to the moon? I don't know. I guess they're not doing the coach live, Sean. Is that what it is? So let's see if let's see if we could get the coach's press conference. I don't know if we can, Sean. Find the coach's press conference. I'd like to play it if it's possible. Let me get you some comments from the coach. Apparently that he is talking. I didn't even know. Again, I didn't do a lot of prep for today's show, to be honest with you. Let's see. Poopart says, as predicted, there'll probably be no final call on Tua's status for the Baltimore game Thursday night until the day of the game. Brian Flores did just say that if the game were being played tonight, Tua wouldn't start. Let's see. Omar Kelly says, young guys need reps to get better, but we also want to win and have success. Those guys need to step up and play better. We need to do a better job of coaching them and putting them in positions to have success. Flores on the O-line. Robert Hunt says their O-line group is pretty pissed off by their performance Sunday and is grateful for another opportunity. Yeah. Frank Gore, a boxer now. His first fight was announced against Deron Williams. That'll be December 18, if you want to watch that. I am not for that, unfortunately, but whatever. You do whatever you want, man. Knock yourselves out. Let's see. Flores, I have a lot of respect for Lamar Jackson's game and the way he has grown over the course of his career. He says he's one of the best players in the league. He's gotten a lot better over the course of his career. He calls him dynamic and explosive. Let's see. On Will Fuller. It was a significant injury. He has made a lot of progress. He got some favorable news last couple of days. Hopefully we can get him back out there quickly. He's been in and working. Flores on Fuller. That's trending in the right direction. Oh, we have it? All right, let's hear from Coach Flo. Go ahead. Play it.
Hi, Brian.
How you doing?
Good morning. So is Tua yet able to make all the throws to play on Thursday?
He threw yesterday. Looked good. He's making some progress. Still somewhat limited. So we're just going to take it, day to day and see how he looks today, tomorrow, and really probably take it right up to day of the game.
You know, whether you would. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You mentioned that he looked good. Did you see any progress from when you, I guess, worked him out last week or worked him out?
Yes, he's definitely making progress. I mean, look, he's got a fracture in the finger, and there's definitely discomfort. It's getting better. Swelling's down. It's getting better. And progress from last week, but there's still some limitations for sure.
How do you, I guess, weigh? You mentioned like obviously choosing Jacoby because he gave you the best chance to win. How do you weigh like how much a percentage of Tua is versus a fully healthy Jacoby when you make that call? Because it seems like he won't be 100% regardless.
Right.
By Thursday.
Right. I mean, I think it's there's a lot of things that go into that kind of decision. Obviously, the health of the player, number one, and whether or not Tua in this instance can, no different than last week, do all the things we need him to do to have success in the game. Again, then there's a short week, and knowing there's discomfort. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. But we'll always do what's best, what we feel is best for the team.
If he plays, would he wear anything on the finger? Is there anything you can put on it to help him?
Help the fracture? I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean, I guess, again, as far as, splints and tape and things like that, that's not really in, my wheelhouse. I know our training staff, our medical staff, they will do and have done, everything that, get them to help them, to get them back as quickly as possible. And Tua's doing everything to get back as quickly as possible also. And there's still time here. We're still, we're 48 hours from the game. So there's still time. I would say, look, if the game was tonight, it beat Jacoby. So that's kind of where we're at.
So is the right way to look at it that you make the final decision after consultation with the trainers and Tua? Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, it's a medical decision. It's a medical decision. It's a team decision. Obviously, I have a lot of say in that. Always try to keep the team first. The health of the player, obviously, is at the forefront, and but also, want to put the team in the best position.
Speaking of finger injuries, with Will Fuller, are you concerned that his finger injury has taken him so long to recover from? And I understand he needs his fingers to catch a football, but you should shed some detail on why it has taken him since week 4 to return from this one.
I mean, it was a significant injury. He's made a lot of progress. We actually got some, favorable news in the last couple of days. So hopeful that we can get him back out there quickly. But look, he's been working. It was a pretty significant injury. That's why it's taken so long. He's not. He's doing everything he can. So, but yeah, I mean, that's trending in the right direction.
Right. Given the fact that you said Tua's stats likely will be a game time decision, I mean, would you expect to elevate Jake from the practice squad, or if Tua can't start, will he just serve in that emergency role again?
I would say if he can't start, he'd be in the same role he was in last week.
The mental, I guess, one of the top mental challenges for trying to get ready for a game in 3 days. I mean, obviously the schedule differs greatly, of course, but guys talking about a 24-hour rule. Christian famously says it every week. Then he said that doesn't even apply this week because you got to turn it around so quickly. What goes in? What do you tell guys about how to handle the daunting part of getting ready for a game in 72 hours?
I think, I can, speaking for myself personally, I think you turn the page on the last game. There's already been some, let's call it preparation on Baltimore, understanding that it would be a quick turnaround. And then for the players, we just got to speed up your weekly routine. You got to, as far as, their roster, who their players are, who their coaches are, what they do on early down, what they do on third down, what they do in the red zone. I mean, you just got to speed up that entire process. We as coaches, we want to give them all the information, give them, the install. Obviously, it can't be as expansive as it is when you have more time. And, in a lot of instances, you have to rely on a lot of the things you've already put in, core plays offensively, core defenses, core things in the kicking game. But more than anything, it's, try to get them mentally prepared and, physically prepared, because it just got done playing a game. So, those are kind of the points that I try to hit on. They got to get themselves physically prepared, to go in 4 days, 2 days now. And then as far as getting mentally prepared and the preparation, against a team like this, what they do a lot, in all three phases, and they do a good job in all three phases. So just having a good understanding of how they want to play, their style, and how we're going to need to play to combat that.
At the risk of answering my own question, I know it's a different year, different team, different circumstances, but obviously the last time you saw these guys, it was not a pleasant experience for you in any way. Does that, for the guys who went through that, should that matter at all this week? You should never need more reason to want to win a game, or to play well. But for the people who went through week 1 against Baltimore, should that be a motivating factor at all?
No, it's really not something that, you look back, you go and watch that film and, see some of the things that they were doing then. Some are similar to what they're doing now, and some things aren't. But you try to learn from that experience. I think, we didn't play well that day. The goal is always to be better and improve and try to get better and play better Thursday night. But there's always motivation, in this league.
I'm sorry, on a short week, have you and Lem decided whether to stick with this quintet of offensive linemen, give them another shot Thursday to get their act together, or might we see changes this Thursday?
Definitely a lot of conversation there. We had a walkthrough yesterday. We'll have a walkthrough today. Tomorrow we'll have a little bit more pace. We've had some conversations about moving some guys around. No final decisions yet, but definitely conversations being had.
I just wanted to ask.
Fractures can be kind of fluky in Tua's case, but at what point do you have to factor availability into your determination of a player?
I think that's pretty, it's obviously, availability is very important. There's a lot of factors that play into that. You mentioned them. Some of them are fluky, but it's not the only factor. It's, the person, the player, the talent. And I think Tua is competitive. He's smart. He wants to be out there. I think he's getting better. I think we all know that, in order to continue to get better, you got to be out there and get the experience. I think he'll get that. I think this is another bump in the road for him, and he'll get through it, and he'll be fine.
Thinking about pressures allowed, particularly at the offensive tackle position, and it's been 3 or more players that have been tried. What if anything, do you think is the common denominator or the reasons why that have led to too many pressures?
I mean, there's so much that goes into that. Obviously, in some instances, and it's been the case for us, is just not playing well enough. Technique, communication, things of that nature. There's other instances where we could help the situation by getting rid of the ball, stepping up in the pocket. It's a team effort. It's a team situation. And we've got to do a better job. We've got to do a better job of not allowing as many pressures, getting the ball out. There's running the football better so that we don't have to pass it as many times, and put ourselves in those situations where it's pass, and they know it, and they can get off. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I think there's some things we can do on early downs that would help. Those let's call it obvious passing situations.
Talked a little bit about, I guess, development, particularly with the offensive line. How do you balance wanting those young guys to play through some of their struggles versus needing better production, to have success now?
It's a fine line. I mean, it's a very fine line. I mean, look, young guys need reps to get better, but we also want to win and have success. So, those guys need to step up and play better. We need to do a better job of coaching them and putting them in better positions to have success. I mean, that starts with me. I'll be the first one to say that. And but what I'll say about these guys is it's important to them, and they're working hard to get it right.
Obviously, only one Lamar Jackson. How difficult is it to simulate him in practice, and how does that kind of change your practice routine, or how impossible is it, I guess?
Yeah, probably impossible is probably a better term. Look, this guy's he's one of the best players in the league, and he's gotten a lot better, I would say, over the course of his career, and dynamic, explosive. I mean, a lot of words like that you can use to describe Lamar, and I have a lot of respect for his game, and the way he's grown. I mean, it's as a obviously we're competing against him on Thursday, but you always as a coach you watching guys develop and grow it's a good thing to see, and they've done a good job of getting him coached up, and he's done a nice job, and he's a very good player in this league.
Brian, piggybacking off Tim's question about the 2019 game, you often talk about learning through adversity. What, if anything, did you take away from that game, or were you able to take away from that game?
I mean, it feels like a while ago. I mean, gotta. I came out of that feeling like we had a long way to go, and we gotta try to get better, improve, and get better. And that was the goal that day. That's always the goal. And that's really it. I mean, we weren't good enough that day, and we had a long way to go, and we had to get better. That's really what I took from it.
Wait a minute, did it end? Did it end? Because I was just saying, did it end? Because put him out of his misery already. That's kind of what I meant. Did it finish right there, Sean? Or is there more? I just was meaning wow, end this thing. He has to think so hard about every answer, and he's crafting it in his mind. And he's trying to just feed you this BS and everything. And it's just, oh my God. What was it? Somebody put there, we're doomed with this kind of leadership. That's exactly it. It's just you're doomed. And on the Tua front, I don't know what to believe. Nobody sees practice. He actually could have thrown the ball well, and he's just throwing us off because somebody was like, "Oh, well, for sure he doesn't play." He's making it sound that way. That doesn't mean, you know what I mean? He's not going to tell you the truth. Was it over?
No, it was over. But I got a question, okay? And we kind of talked about this Sunday. How can you keep saying that he's not good enough to start, but he's okay to come in a backup role? If you're saying he can't play,
then he can't play.
Can't play.
Right.
If you're saying the finger's not good enough for him to start, but then he can come in and back up, what happens if Jacoby Brissett gets hurt on the first play of the game?
Right. Then he's coming in and throwing 5-yard passes instead of 8-yard passes.
It's just crazy. I don't understand it sometimes. I just the way the thinking of it, I guess.
Is there anything that makes any sense that he does this year?
No, nothing.
Anything? Nothing. Nothing. And it's like, well, you're thinking about changes in that. Well, we're going to have a couple walkthroughs. I'm laughing my ass off like,
that's going to change everything.
Like, yeah, like, hey, did you see him there? You see him on that walkthrough? You see how he held up that defensive end on the walkthrough? That pose. He did a Madonna. He struck the pose. We got to start him.
I was going to say,
We got to start him.
Not only that, but he was answered with the walkthrough about the offensive line. What are you going to see from the offensive line through a walk?
That's my point. It's like, how do you decide anything on a walkthrough?
Oh, we're doomed.
It's an effing walkthrough, you idiot. They don't do anything there in a walkthrough. You walk through. So then on Thursday night when they lose, well, I don't know. He looked pretty good in the walkthrough. So we kind of felt like we could use him in Baltimore, against Baltimore. And we really saw his stance in the walkthrough, and it was, he looked. I looked him in the eye. He was prepared in the walkthrough. Come on, man.
How bad do you think you can? How ugly do you think it can get Thursday night?
It's going to get ugly because they love to get physical on the Dolphins. You know what the screwed up part is? Their defense really isn't that good. That's the screwed up part about the Baltimore Ravens. What a shame that the Dolphins don't have an offense. But what do they normally do? They punch them in the mouth. They run all over them. You got to try to catch Lamar Jackson, and it's impossible. And then it gets to a point where he's actually comfortable, and then he's actually even throwing on you. I mean, I can't explain this man anymore. I can't. You're going to decide on O-lineman during a walkthrough. Yeah, no, we're discussing it. What the hell are you discussing? Well, that guy farted during the walkthrough. We're not going to use a guy that farts during a walkthrough. That other guy there, he's regular. We'll start him. I mean, what? What do you do?
Maybe there's an opportunity for Greg Little this time.
Maybe. But he right now looks like he's pretty small in practice. That's why he's not finding his. I mean, if you can't crack the worst lineup in the NFL, then what's there to do? I mean, seriously. This is the worst line in the NFL. Those of you, I don't know if you saw that that post. I think it was PFF that did the post, if I'm correct. I can show it to was it?
I believe it was, yeah.
It was, right?
They were all the top three with 37 apiece.
Yes, 37 apiece. But it's, it's such a beautiful type of setup there that I think I should show it to you guys. That way you feel good about it, right? You can feel really good about your offensive line right now. Let me see, where is that thing at? Because it was, oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here we go. So now let's share it with you all here, because I'm telling you this, and those of you probably already saw this, but there you go. There you go. Most pressures allowed in the entire NFL. Number 1, Liam Eichenberg, 37. Number 1, Austin Jackson, 37. Number 1, Jesse Davis, 37. All three tied for first, and all with 37 pressures allowed already this season.
At least they're consistent.
I mean, seriously. I can see the meetings now. Hey, asshole, you're up to 34. I've only allowed 31. Would you let me catch up? So, that's probably what's going on. There's probably also, I wouldn't be surprised if Jean-Pierre or whatever is the guy's name, what was the name? What's the name of the offensive line? Pepe Le Pew or something? I don't know, whatever it is. Pepe Le Pew, okay? Yeah, Pepe Le Pew is he should actually share some of that skunk, because if Pepe Le Pew's, maybe that would help out. That would create a kind of a boundary there. That would help out. But maybe Pepe Le Pew, while he's teaching his offensive linemen how to not block in the league and how to allow pressures, maybe he's got on the board, all right, who's going to win the 1,000 Bitcoin this week? Whoever allows the most pressures wins 1,000 Bitcoin. At the end of the year, he who allows the most pressures, maybe it's 100,000 in Bitcoin. Something like that. You got to think about it. There has to be some kind of a prize. They must be fighting for something, because they're all three tied for it for the league lead. So somebody's after something, right? I mean, I'm just saying. There's got to be something going on there. Somebody gets a set of steak knives. If they end up with all of it, I don't know. Something's going on. Just saying. I mean, 3 guys competing, and this is one hell of a race. Hey, we strive to suck, and we strive to suck at an elite level. And that's what we're doing here as Miami Dolphins. We are sucking at an elite level. We've got 3 of the top worst linemen in the NFL. I think, you know what it was? Now I'm on to this. I figured it out. The Dolphins thought that the idea was to build the worst line. They didn't realize that you have to build a good line in order to protect your quarterback and have an offense and run the ball and be able to find somebody downfield. But they thought it was a race to build the worst line ever. And I got to say, you know what? They're accomplishing it. I wonder if we actually told them to build a good line, could they do it? Because clearly this is what they thought they were, This is who they are. They thought they had to build the worst line ever. And kudos to them. They've come up with the worst line ever. Strong. Big time. They're fighting to see who gets Tua injured. Well, Jesse Davis is leading the way right now. I mean, you got to give Jesse some love there. He did a good job there. Just like, hey, he's Finch. Okay, Jesse Davis is Finch in what's that? It's the sport of kings, better than diamond rings. Football. What's the name of that movie? Wildcats. So Finch is the big dude that is always gambling and selling stuff and all that, and so he is just like hanging out. Finch will walk over to the other sideline and tell them the plays. If you pay him money, but then the coach doesn't want to pay him money, tells him to get his fat ass out of it, and then Finch all of a sudden gets pissed off and says, "Hey, I want to play." You know what? What if the Dolphins were able to track down Finch and add him to the offensive line? Nobody remember? You remember Sean Finch from Wildcats? Huh? You remember Finch from Wildcats? I mean, Finch from Wildcats. Huh?
Yes, I do. Yes, sir. That's my Brian Flores imitation. Yeah, I do.
I'm telling you, if we're smart, okay, we try to find Finch because, he's only maybe about 60 years old right now. But Finch, look at Finch, bro. I mean, now that, my friends, is a lineman. Okay? That's a lineman. You got to cut the shirt off because it doesn't reach around. So you slice the shirt in half, and then you have another piece of cloth that you've got to tie it around. And Finch, let me tell you something. Having Finch on the line is good because if you ever need any cash, he's got it in his balls. Seriously. Finch is good. Finch, he can block kicks. If you haven't watched Wildcats, I mean, listen, we're getting our kicks blocked all the time. We might as well get somebody in there that can block kicks. Finch can block kicks. He can sky. This would be an improvement to our offensive line. We get Finch. We add him at guard. And you know what we need? I got it. I got it, dude. I'm all over. I'm ready for this. We add the center from the replacements. I don't know his name. See, I knew Finch, but I don't remember the center from the replacements. But that's the guy that I would add. He's like a Samoan or something like that. Although I got to tell you, in a bad year like this, Kathy Ireland as the kicker, that might make me want to go to the games and cancel all of my broadcasts at Sports Grill. Although, the young Kathy Ireland, I don't know how she is now. I don't know if Kathy has aged well. But if we could get the Samoan in there at center, I think we got a shot. Seriously.
There, he's on the screen. He's on the screen now.
You got him on the screen? Oh, there you go. See? That's strong. We get him at center. We get Finch at guard. I think we're on our way. Definitely. I mean, that's an all-pro lineup. I'm already. I think I drafted two guys better than what we have right now. Anybody going to argue that? Right? I mean, those two linemen right there will take the Dolphins to the next level. I promise you that. I know Eichenberg, Jackson, and Davis are doing their best to take us to another level. It's a lower level, but it's another level. You're thinking unnecessary roughness. Oh, that's right. She's not in the replacements. You are correct. You're right. You're right. But it doesn't matter. It's still a kicker. It's still a hot kicker. For the replacements, I actually like the cheerleader. She's got a great smile. The one that was into Falco. Oh, so wait a minute. Tua or Shane Falco? Where are we going now? Huh? Tua or Shane Falco? Flo or Gene Hackman or Al Pacino or James Caan? Which one? Who are you going with? Oh, she's hot. There it is. Nice job by you, Sean. She's a smoke show. She's a total smoke show. I don't know how she aged, but she's super cute, man. What a smile. Golden smile. Beautiful smile. Although we could also get the kicker from the replacements because, I mean, who doesn't want a kicker that smokes in the sidelines? There you go. You want Hackman, huh? You want Hackman. Me too. I want a Hackman over Al Pacino.
It reminds me of Shula. He did the most with less.
Yes. You're right. You're right. You're right. I would go with Hackman over Pacino and James Caan. James was a little too serious for my book. A little too serious. But his I think, what was his called? The program, I think it was, right? Is that the one that he was in, the program? The one that the linebacker that was juicing all the time and was a crazy bastard? So ironic that Keanu Reeves got a tryout with the Ravens apparently when doing that movie. He didn't get a tryout. He can't play football at that level. Give me Samson Satelli for crying out loud at this point. Dellenbach could probably play right tackle. John Wick all day, baby. That's right. Shane Falco. Robert Ortiz says Dolphins are tanking the season for no purpose or a porpoise. Tell me why we don't take Cam Newton as a backup to Tua, yet we keep Jabroni Brisket as his backup. Yeah, because Cam Newton, you would have to run a completely different offense. First of all, dude, listen. We have the most remedial offensive coordinators in the world. Okay, they can't do anything as it is. So now you want them to design two different offenses? One for a running quarterback and one for a traditional quarterback? Are you kidding me? Do you know what kind of a mental challenge that'll be for the mental midgets that we have in Miami Gardens? No, dude. Can't do that, bro. That would strain their brain. Okay? Big O, I wasn't overreacting yesterday about Jesse Davis. He's 5 years in with us performing like a rookie again. I'm over it with him. 6-man, sure, whatever, but I wouldn't miss him if they cut him. Joel, I'm with you, dude. Now, I wouldn't cut him because I think Jesse, dude, how many backups can you have that are like super starters or anything? Not a lot. Usually backups are fill-ins. Jesse Davis is a perfect 6-man. He can get you through a game or whatever, but he's not a starter. Never has been a starter. That's the problem. But you're so pissed because, and you should be, Joel, but you're pissed because he's a starter and he's an absolute failure as a starter. That's what it is. But as a backup, he would be fantastic. Excellent backup. That's exactly what you need as a backup. According to IMDb, during the filming, Keanu Reeves was offered a tryout with the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens would eventually go on to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm sure that's a real fact. Come on, man. I mean, Ozzie Newsome should get fired for that. That's just one of those showboat things that they had to have some fun and let him throw the ball around. Come on. Keanu Reeves is not really going to. Come on. He probably wasn't even the one that was when the ball was in the air. It probably was a stunt arm throwing it. I don't think you call it a stunt arm, but I'm going to call it a stunt arm. Big O, how long until Tua is holding a clipboard for the Saskatchewan Roughriders? First of all, sir, the Toronto Argonauts have his rights, so you're wrong. I think it's going to be like the Buffalo game. We all thought a blowout of epic proportions. 34-13, birds. Life is too short to stay mad at the Dolphins. No, they stay mad at us. That's why they take it out on us all the time. Herman Gonzalez says, I say the receivers should call their own plays or QB call the offense. You're probably right. I mean, why not get out a stick, start drawing it on the field? Screw that. What did they call? Oh, forget that. All right, you start. Hey, you and start drawing on the like Tua pulls one of the tackles. Okay, look, you do a hook. You 3 steps across. All right, you take them deep. All right, you come out of the backfield on this side, and I'll roll out and all because they don't have me rolling out. They have me in the same spot. These idiots don't know anything, so I'll roll out with you. And as you're going across, I'll hit you. Wouldn't that be awesome? Tua like throws it, get out of here, and he starts drawing plays on the chest like we used to do as kids. You had to do it on the chest because on the ground, from the other side of the line of scrimmage, you know you'd be going, what's he drawing over there? And you're trying, so you had to then have the guy that had his back to your opponent, and then you were drawing on his chest. All right, you do this, that. That's how it was, right? It's the only way you can do it. Can't draw on the floor. You'll get busted. Why did Greer reach for those linemen? Because he thought they would be great replacements. All right. Hey, appreciate all of you as always for tuning in. You can always reach out to us if you're listening on the podcast, 855-912-1056. You want to make a donation, Cash App and Venmo. The links are right there on our YouTube page. Always appreciate the support. We thank Manny Navarro for joining us. We thank Sean Stanley, as always, for doing a great job. Especially, I want to thank all of you out there because I kind of coasted for 3 hours and really had very little preparation whatsoever. But we will be better prepared tomorrow. And tomorrow, by the way, we will start at 10 a.m. We will not start at 8 a.m. like we normally do. We will not have the Pallet Rack City Inside the Paint Show from 9 to 10 tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Pallet Rack City Inside the Paint Show will be at noon, from noon to 1. All right? So there you go. Noon to 1 tomorrow is the Pallet Rack City Inside the Paint Show. All right? Thanks to Sean Stanley, as always. You are absolutely awesome. Appreciate you, Sean. Studley, as always. We will catch you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. As GP Trap Hewitt put, same bat channel.
Blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.